Hello, and welcome back to the 950 Club Podcast, an anime and manga podcast. Today, we have a review show of 2023. It's a big one, regardless, because the big three shows that we're covering are Zom 100, Mushkou Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Season 2, and finally, Jujutsu Kaisen, second season, Hidden Inventory, and Premature Death, the first half. We're going to preview the Shibuya incident as well. And yes, we have a special guest with Kyle. Sadly, I like to add that this particular recording wasn't the best recorded episode ever. We had a lot of problems and stipulations. Unfortunately, on my editing end, really messed up here and there sequences. So the first half of this review is really kind of choppy, not up to par of my standards, to be honest. However, Kyle was an excellent guest. He did bring in a lot of great source material for Jujutsu Kaisen, and yeah, we bounced off him quite well with the other shows as well. And yeah, he's much younger than us. We do need a younger head to talk to the old guys. Nonetheless, we, the 950 Club, are proud of this episode, and we hope you like it. And from this transition,
we're moving to the summer, baby.
Summer season. It's going to be a relatively small one.
So this time, because we have some guests with us, we'll be doing a slight departure from our usual, we usually do like an isekai roundup, and Jack does his vending machine, slice of life vending machine corner. We're not going to do that this time. We picked the big three for us, so that's how we'll be breaking this up this time. And then we have a special guest, Kyle, who's here to join us for our Jujutsu Kaisen discussion. So let's get with it. Mushkou Tensei too?
Yes.
All right, well, that's two of our big two.
How about Zom?
I'm like 5 episodes in.
No, it's 6 episodes.
So, yeah, it's only 6 episodes, so we're all pretty much caught up.
You all listen to our
catch-ups.
catch-ups. That's usually like one of our most listened to things, our seasonal reviews. And look, again, we are still fatigued from the convention. So we haven't quite caught up to everything that we would like to. So that's also a reason why we're going with this slight departure, because we all have these three that we kind of watch, with the big three for us being Zom 100, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Mushkou Tensei.
Yep.
And then, as we said, we each have a couple that we watched on the side that we want to. Dang, I hate this.
Yeah, no.
That we want to.
it's my bane.
That we want to talk about. Circle back to summer season if we catch up in time.
Well, there's plenty of content. There's a lot of shows.
Plenty of stuff that we want to watch. But again, we still have convention fatigue. It was still just a couple weeks ago, and we've done a lot of binging to get us here.
My heart was on that table because that was Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
I still have never watched either of them.
You've never watched either one of them?
No.
All right, so you have homework. This is what you do.
Yep.
Homework? Wow.
So for our 2-year special, we're going to have our Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood discussion.
Okay.
You need to watch both of them so you can be in on it.
I only know Brotherhood is on, or Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah,
I'll get Full
only one of them is on now.
I'll get Full Metal Alchemist to you.
Okay.
And I again want to put this out there for all of you streaming services, all of you studios. If you will hold the content hostage, I will find it. Please be aware that I will find you. I will distribute it amongst my friends if necessary.
I mean, I have the VPN. That's it. So.
Well, VPN is Andy too.
One of the questions, though, it becomes is the reason that they don't have Full Metal Alchemist out there is because they feel that Brotherhood is the only version of Alchemist that should exist? It's a good question, but let's table that for the.
Okay.
That
okay.
is-
Let's table that for the
That
anniversary.
How long do I have till I find that out?
Content hostage.
Okay. How
And in this digital age,
You have 115 episodes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I watched Brotherhood in like 2 weeks, and man, let me tell you, man, I was burnt out.
I think Full
But,
Metal is
yeah.
like 55 and Brotherhood is like 65, 70, something like that.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
64.
Yeah.
I watched like 300 episodes of One Piece in like 2 weeks. So
Oh, yeah, you can do it.
One Piece. I'll give you that. Pokemon, that's probably.
He's 20. He has time. So,
Okay, so let's jump into Zom 100.
Zom 100.
We'll start
everybody-
with the Z.
We'll start with Z.
There you go.
So, I think I got into this show because in our Instagram group with Martin, you guys mentioned it. And so I was like, all right, they are all on the same page that this show is awesome. So I'm like, all right, let me jump into it. And that first episode grabs you. Because I think it's very relatable to everybody.
It's its own movie too.
Yeah.
that's how I felt when after working with you guys.
Put some bass in your voice, young man.
No, because like I don't want to like name
No,
drop
no.
where we worked. So like,
No.
I don't want to like
care.
I don't want to throw.
He just mentioned somebody.
I work for J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yeah, Chase had me feel like how Zom 100 felt after like only a year of working there. So
And you're a young
all
man.
Felt that this
Yeah.
month.
Yes.
I know, particularly August was a rough month for me at work.
yeah,
I'm surprised that I still have a job.
Well, for me, with context with this is that this is when I was working at the bookstores, and during this stretch, this is when Chainsaw Man was exploding, and I'm like, here you go, here's your Chainsaw Man, and it sells out, whatever. I read the first 2 volumes of Zom. I'm like, I'm going to sell this to when Chainsaw Man sells out. Here you go. It's just like Chainsaw Man. You have fun with it. It's easy to comprehend. So
It's just like Chainsaw.
I don't know what you mean by that. Hold on.
substitute.
I think, Jamal, I kind of
Because even
Jujutsu
Jujutsu Kaisen's selling out like crazy. It's like, okay, what
Like,
else
I wasn't
do you have?
even looking at Jamal, and I knew he was going to say something. 'Cause I know
and then if you're like,
I little side.
I'm like, here,
I know exactly how Jamal feels about
Chainsaw Man.
Man.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat with Jamal.
I think the Chainsaw Man and Zom are two totally different shows.
But he's
But
saying
I
that the
get what
audience
you're-
base
I
might
get-
be comparable, and I kind of get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Zom actually has a more mature base because like a lot of younger people
does.
don't like work as like in
Okay.
corporate positions.
That's good
I think there's a
observation.
lot of.
I give you that.
I think they can understand Zom 100 better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Zom 100 really like pushes that kind of like Japanese like not even I'm not even talking about dedication,
Yeah.
but exploitation
Yes.
of the working man to the point where it's like this is literally your life. You are literally a zombie who just like
20 hours a day.
the crunch. Yeah.
Chase.
The chase too.
Yeah.
And our main character Akira, Akira, he does this for 2 years, right?
Three.
Three.
It's like 3 years.
And
3 years.
he works for like an entertainment like business
Yeah, he wanted to get into
Production.
marketing.
production. There.
And I think he ended up in production.
So he's on conference calls every day. His boss is on his ass. A little bit like highlight of his day is seeing this pretty girl like saying nice things to him, and she's having an affair with the boss.
He
you know?
busting down for the boss.
Yeah.
Which
Busting
I
down.
knew was going to happen.
Oh yeah, the second you see
that
her, you
place,
know.
yeah.
The second I saw her, I was like, she busting down
Yeah.
for that big lit boss.
That was so sad that end of that episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because they turn into zombies.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically during this chase, he completely ignores the news, and everyone's just biting each other. You know how those zombie movies start off with like sudden violence.
They're not like Walking Dead zombies.
No.
But they're not like World War Z zombies
No,
either.
they're in betweens.
They're this like weird in between.
Dying Light.
Okay, yeah.
I think
Dying Light.
Yeah.
Dying Light.
That's a good one.
That's a
Dying
good
Light
comparison.
zombies. I think that's a good comparison.
Yeah, even like Resident Evil zombies are different.
Well, yeah, because you have
No,
your
no,
slow-paced zombies, but then you have your fast runner zombies.
And then you have the
Like,
ones
there's
that
a-
can
there's a-
drive and
Yeah,
And then there's the
part where
ones that
girls,
like you saw
observing
the boss. I didn't mean to cut you off. The boss was like evolving or like turning bigger.
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah,
one?
it reminded me of Left 4 Dead, like the blubber guy.
Yeah, there's definitely. Well, I mean, we've all seen the shark episode, right?
Yes.
I love
The shark episode
You
of
saw
Left 4
the
Dead.
episode?
I don't think so. I have.
Good, we're spoiling it. All right, so
That was insane.
That's the best episode.
But that was fun.
Or second best episode.
There was a shark episode. They ended up like going to
An aquarium?
aquarium.
Yeah.
so
There's a zombie shark.
There was a
Yeah.
zombie shark.
yeah, because Akira wants to get the suit.
Because he wants to be a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the shark suit, it's it's bite resistant for when the sharks bite. So he like wants to do it. So he goes out and he gets the suit. And you know what? That's a big thing that we need to say about this show. This show is in that new genre of what I'm calling like the 100 Things genre.
Or kind of like
Yeah.
a bucket list.
the bucket list
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a bucket list show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you mean by how it's like Chainsaw Man? How Denji wanted
No,
to?
no,
okay.
style, and
Okay.
like you can gravitate towards the violence and
Because like the bucket list scene where like Denji is like, I want to touch boobs.
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like
well,
that. So
Well, he goes from the toast,
yeah.
toast with jam to boobs to like.
and
yeah.
it's more.
But his is just kind of like I want, but these are.
Well,
the
these are
bucket list
dreams of a
is
more
like-
mature,
it's
developed
always
personality.
100.
Yeah.
It's like Comey. Like I want to meet
Like
100
100
friends,
friends,
yeah.
yes.
or
yes.
like or this. I want to do these 100 things. Like there's so many shows that's coming out with this. Like
Well, there's one where the
100.
premise is like the guy has like 100 girlfriends.
yeah,
Oh, rents a girlfriend.
Yeah.
No,
Pretty much.
he might as well get up to 100 for sure.
That I don't know. Man, don't even get me started.
Well, he literally only
shit
has like
angers me.
one
I do
girlfriend.
love that show. I do love that show.
He has an ex and
quick,
he has a
quick
current
departure
girlfriend.
into what
I haven't watched season
3.
Season 3 of Rent a
that was-
Girlfriend.
that
I
was
like it.
Spring, right?
No, this season, the
Yeah,
new
it's this
season of this
season.
season.
That's this season.
Yeah, it's
All right,
playing
quick
out
de-
this season.
A quick departure into.
I
Rent a
can't stand that.
Girlfriend season 3. Go for it.
I will never watch that show again. I heard it. And
So
that show
what was the moment
ass.
that pissed you off? And
Maxie,
you were like,
he's
I'm
such
done.
a pussy, and like he's just so annoying. Like I'm gonna try everything. Like shut up. Oh my god.
he grows through the growing pains.
Oh, he's so aggravating. And
but
then he'll
when-
have like this one good moment, and then he'll ruin it 2 seconds later. It's the most. Oh my god.
It's a study of man.
That's how I felt
Moderated.
about June in Tomo-chan.
Okay, yeah.
That's how.
Oh, God.
No, June's like more subdued compared to him. Trust me.
Oh yeah, June
Trust
is
me.
nowhere near as
He
bad
annoyed- he
as like
he
yeah.
annoyed me.
You want to
Never
root for that guy and Rent a Girlfriend, but yeah, sometimes
Well,
it's just- he's just like,
season
no.
3 is distracted. Let's put it that way.
Well,
I
my
pray
thing
on
is,
his
it's like,
downfall.
all right, that's one of their will they, won't they, will they, won't they, will they, won't they,
Oh,
will
yeah.
they, will he with this girl, will
five
he with
different
that girl?
in 5 different avenues.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just like you're like, what the? Yeah,
It's a breakdown of harem animes, but it's a weird turn.
well, this new one, like he gets a fan, like he gets like
a roommate,
Well, he gets like a little bi-curious
Tim,
fan.
man, I might actually watch.
a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, he gets like this Twitch streamer who's in love with girls, and so she's like rooting for him. She becomes his biggest fan, and she's like rooting for him and trying to help him. And you're just like, why did this go in this direction? Yeah.
Actually, now I'm gonna watch it just like this is a hey. I'm turning into you, Jamal.
Third season you'll like. I'll put money on the table on that one.
I don't
How much money am I putting? I will
I'm
hate
gonna
watch
hate watch
this.
No,
Some
third season.
Some things are a good hate watch until the hate just overcomes the watch. Like Handmaid's Tale.
Okay, yeah.
I can't watch that. I can't hate watch that show no more. I'm sorry, Ernie. I can't hate watch it no more. Back to Zom 100.
Back to
I love the energy of this show.
I
love the
do
energy.
too.
I do too.
Yeah.
Like
It's not like so over the top that
No.
it's like this is ridiculous, but it's just like that scene where like they're trying to get to the TV.
yes.
And the firefighter is like essentially just spraying fire, and they've got the gas truck coming behind them. And I'm thinking to myself, this is absolutely ridiculous. But for this show, it works. And not only does it work, you want that explosion.
Yeah.
You want it. You're waiting for it.
And they give it to you
And
on a
they
silver
do.
platter. Like,
They do.
mwah.
And that's the thing. They know how to create these ridiculous moments where you're like, yep, I want to see that. You're like, I want to see that. Because when the shark has legs and is running around and you're like, this is ridiculous.
Okay.
You're like, this is ridiculous, but I want this to happen.
It may have been one of the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
ones.
I just finished episode 4. So I'm 2 episodes behind.
and how they. So you saw the flight attendants.
That was wild.
That's good.
Right? That's what I'm talking about.
And what Edwin's saying with the energy in that episode, because they're trapped in the TV store with these attendants. One of the people in there is bitten, so he attacks the rest of the crew. There's a subtle moment between Akira and another flight attendant. How she mentions like she loves her boyfriend, and this is a tragic character. You're like,
But he helps her find her dream.
Yeah.
Right.
He helps her reaffirm her purpose in life.
and how zany.
right before she gets turned into a zombie. It's
Precisely.
just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to go on a date. with
Yeah.
the attendant. So
And that's part of his bucket list.
And that's part of his
And
bucket list.
that's the thing. Like, this show knows exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
knows what it is.
It does.
He has these bucket list things that he wants. So it's like, oh, okay. He wants to become a superhero.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, how is he going to do this? And you end up with a shark with legs. Hips. And
Whatever
it's just-
extreme they can come up with,
whatever
that's
extreme-
what they're going to give you.
but
have a
it,
Sharknado episode.
It pretty much was that.
It
Yeah.
was
but
the
it
Sharknado.
works.
It does. It does
It
because
works.
it does because this show does one thing that this is like the prince. It lives by this one principle. It's like life is what you make it and how you see it. Because it's like Jesus Christ, what can be worse than the zombie apocalypse? But he keeps writing those things down and he keeps meeting them. And it's like it's a choice that you can. Well, it's like he keeps writing these. I want to have a date with a flight attendant. It goes so fucking horribly bad that it can't literally go any worse. It really can't. And yet, by the next episode, they're on to the next thing, and it's because it's like you can choose to be the show that's going to be like suffer, or like, look, man, it's the fucking zombie apocalypse, but at least I don't have to work my soul crushing job. Right.
Until well, you're not this far yet. He meets his boss.
No way.
Yeah.
He meets his former boss.
Are you familiar with Walking Dead?
Yeah.
It's like Negan.
Negan.
I'm sorry.
Oh snap.
Yeah, with the bat.
Wait, because I thought. Oh no, because there was like the manager, and then there was the boss. As the manager, he tossed out the window.
Yeah, the not him. It's the dude that it
Oh,
was kind of
no.
like
He's a really big guy.
Oh,
He's
okay,
on the
then.
desk slamming.
Yeah, he's the one that's yelling at him all the time.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen this one? I don't think so.
It's literally Walking Dead.
So okay. So in this episode,
That's when they've left town.
they've left town.
They've
They
left
met
Tokyo.
up
Okay.
with the girl again.
Okay.
And they go like searching for RVs.
Yeah, practical.
Because he wants to get an RV.
The
I
idea.
started watching.
And
that.
they go to the
Yeah.
RV show, and zombies come.
Of course.
And this is where, because the girl, she's really cool because she's very analytical. She tries to think of the best scenarios.
And then it's just this idiot.
Well, she's like
Well-
the traditional zombie,
Like Survivor.
heroine.
Yeah, a Survivor.
Like, her
too.
list is 100 ways not to become a zombie.
Right.
Where his list is like 100 things to do before I become a zombie.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, and it goes back to the show. It goes back to the show's like worldview and what I was saying earlier. It's like, it's different because he chooses to be positive. He's like, these are the things I'm going to do
Yeah.
before I become a
Yeah,
zombie.
and what I was mentioning with the flight attendant, even though she died, he kind of has to wipe the slate. Like, okay, at least I tried to help her and move on.
And it also comes into
He
like a societal
did what he
viewpoint.
did because they end up having a moment, and she did she hug him or kiss him on the cheek or
No, she
No,
like
she sacrificed
rubbed
yeah,
to
she
the
kind of
back.
pushes him.
yeah. She like
She was
this
caressing
thing.
his
Yeah,
back while he was vomiting,
exactly.
and like, yeah.
Yeah, so he had that date with her, so he's like, all right, I accomplished that.
Yeah,
Oh, is it Tencho? That's the best friend's name, right?
Tencho.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and even that
Him at the-
episode was like, even that episode kind of like tells you how ridiculous. It's like everything has to be absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the end right.
Well,
He
yeah,
starts crying.
well, no, because he goes from like, I'm gonna die on this fucking rooftop to I'm going to jump off the rooftop to I'm going to
Detonated midair.
Do a spin just so I can make this guy laugh and probably fall to my death. And it's just like, how do you go from like, and that's this show. It goes from like the typical zombie like feeling to like the most absolute crazy batshit thing that you could think of.
Yes.
Without even like batting an eyelash.
And
It's
it
like,
works.
Nope.
It works so
It works
well.
really well.
So for the sake, when we were talking about My Home Hero, and I'm like, I can't suspend my disbelief for this show. This show, I don't need to.
Yeah,
It's just
all bets are off.
I know,
All bets are off.
I
agree.
know it's going to be ridiculous,
Yeah. All bets are
and
off.
you want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
You
because
want it to be.
I think it's because of Akira's attitude.
Yes,
His attitude is like,
Is this
man,
the same voice actor as Asa?
He sounds familiar,
Right?
The Fire
Could be.
Force too, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And,
But he
Comey
is
as
down
Tantra.
for it. He's ready for this. He's down for it, and you're just along for the ride. And they said, and then the show did a really good job of setting that up. Yeah, it did. It's like, this is the tone that we're going for. This is what you get,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Well, you were mentioning about the societal stuff, and yeah, like
well, the one point I wanted to make is her viewpoint and his viewpoint. It's like her viewpoint is like essentially, these are the things I'm going to do so that I don't die. So I'll be healthy and like mentally balanced and whatever. And his is the acceptance that one day I will die. So these are the things that I want to do that will be fulfilling to me before I die.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah.
no. In bouncing off of that, when I was selling this book, it was just after the pandemic, after you know
jeez.
all that crap.
Yeah.
And initially reading it and having that feeling and that dynamic as well, like what I got to do to survive. The opposite though is like you got to freaking live. So even that it's
He's actually really quick thinking though. Like when it actually comes down to it, like
yeah, and
she made him quick thinking.
yeah, that's true.
because she's like, you're too reckless. What are you doing? Yeah. And so it put it in his mind. So now he's thinking like, because before he was just like doing stuff.
Yeah,
Like, I want a beer.
yeah.
And she's like, you did all this for
Beer.
beer?
Yeah.
But, you know, after she's pushed him out the way and saves him from the zombie, he's like,
I wish it was me.
okay, I need to. He's like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
I need to consider these things a little bit more. Because even in his last episode, he like makes a point where he's like, this is really a zombie apocalypse.
The water,
That's like
the water's out, the electricity's
Yeah,
out.
he's like,
Yeah.
all right, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
It became real. Before it was just like, all right, I'm out of work. I don't care.
Well, I think he
Now
was
it's a
so
real thing.
shell shocked
Yeah.
from his job that he was just so happy to not be doing his job.
Yeah.
That I think the reality of what was happening around him didn't sink in.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of scary because it's like I like the fact that the reality of what's happening kind of doesn't sink into their into their like the way this thing works
At
It's
the
like-
moment, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
the comic relief that everyone else realizes it's the damn zombie apocalypse, and then he doesn't know
he
it's a
doesn't.
zombie
Yeah.
apocalypse.
Yeah, but it's his growth. I think it's to his coming out of that situation where he has been so abused for so long that it's like, and that's a choice that they can make. It's like he's been abused for so long where everybody else is kind of realizing like, hey, this is what's going on. But I think too, it plays into that thing too, where it's like, that's kind of sometimes the way your life is, where it's you start to realize like, oh yeah, this is, maybe I should take this more seriously, or maybe I should think about what I want to do with my life, or maybe like, yeah, maybe one day I will die. And like, so I think
Yeah. that balance.
yeah, well that kind of plays into like what the arc for the series is going to
You sometimes don't know how bad something is while you're in it.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like once you step outside of it or you go somewhere else.
Or you see like like he saw his friend's perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Like his friend always wanted to be a comedian. That was like his dream. And then like the girl's perspective, like, yeah.
Yeah, when you mentioned earlier with Martin's reaction. Martin was like the one that really sold me. Even though I saw the first episode and read the manga, he's like, I finally saw the first episode. I love it. Like I immediately think of his working scenario, and he does a tough job, and all you guys as well, really tough jobs. And my job, a little bit cash. I do work at home, but it's a grind, and that grind life is a lot.
Bad leadership ruins every job. So, like, we have all experienced bad leadership and how corporations can be abusive.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this before. It's like they've learned nothing from COVID. So during COVID, they needed people to work. They're like, here, we'll give you transportation. We'll give you food. We'll give you money. We'll give you all these things. And then we're a few years out, 3 years out, 2 years out. And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, what?
Money? What? Food? What?
Benefits? What?
Benefits? Park? What?
What?
And it's just like, no. And so you're right back to where it's back to square one, where it's like you were just doing this because you needed me. And now that you have people in the workforce, it's just like, you should be thankful that you have this job. There's other people that can use this job. And you end up in that situation where he's just like, wanted, and I can't find a way out. Hits you because he's like, I'm afraid. I have all this time saved up and I'm afraid to use it. And these jobs will make you feel that way.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, no, man, please don't take off, man. We need you. Like, just hold on. And it's just like.
And then you don't feel appreciated when you're actually there.
And then you don't feel appreciated when you're there.
It's back
and
to
it's
what
like,
it was.
you get to a point where it's just like, no, this is my time. Why am I doing this for you?
Well, it's because you feel like once their needs are met, you're no longer relevant. Mm-hmm. It's like they go off, and I feel like they found people to run these things the way they ran things. Like they specifically went and found people, like upper management, that will run these things the way they did before.
I feel like that's a huge slap in the face to your employees, because a lot of the time, like, I didn't feel appreciated. Like, the only reason I really like enjoyed working was because of Jamaal. Jamaal made today's a lot funnier.
How ironic. That was me and Edwin when
Yeah.
I was with Barbara.
So-
I had to. That was one of the things that I had to. That was one of my. If this kid's going through like learning experiences, that was one of my learning experiences after the pandemic, where it's like I had to kind of say, okay, that was the past. It was a really happy time working with Jamaal and Jack, and it's like I had to readjust. It's like, all right, I need to focus on the present and how to make this just as good.
Yeah, and how to handle your needs too.
Yeah. How to deal with the stresses that these guys helped me deal with when I was on my own, and then find these new people that like I can trust and work with and have a good time with. And that wasn't easy.
And this show,
It really is not.
zany as it gets, has those like lingering questions on your soul. It really does. Because Akira, like those two things were off of my bucket list. One day I wouldn't mind having a gold watch. Wouldn't mind it. It'll never happen though. That's like number 100.
Don't say that it'll never happen.
Yeah.
You get a good watch.
But number 10, number 5 range, data flight attendant. I'm telling you, that's in my personal bucket list.
My buddy's a flight attendant. I'll set you up.
Hey, I like it already.
What kind of buddy?
One of my best friends.
What kind of best friend?
Like, I hang out with him whenever he's in town.
Him?
Yeah.
Ah, dang.
He's not. No, but all the connects, all the flight attendant connects.
Hey.
See?
I'm not going to say anything because I worked at an airport for a very long time, so I'm not going to say anything.
I'll get my connects. Don't worry.
I'm not going to get this canceled. But going back to what we said. Where were we going? Oh, okay. This printed off. We were talking about the thing. So he in the episode, they go to the RV show.
Oh, okay. Very soon.
They meet up with I'm gonna find that name.
Yeah.
It's
It's a common-ish name.
Jose, I know they didn't say it like pre-episode 4.
Shizuka Mikazuki? Yeah. It's Shizuka. So he meets up with Shizuka again, and they're both like, because she's like going to get an RV, and they're like, what are you doing here? She's like, well, I've watched like hundreds of zombie movies, and the RV is the most practical thing in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So they both meet up at this RV show, and Akira and Kensho are like marking out over these
Yeah.
RVs. It's like, oh, look at this one. It's got a pool.
This one's
oh, look at this one. It's a double decker.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this one.
The most impractical ones.
The
like,
most
they could- yeah.
You can have a
Practical
tea
ones.
ceremony in this one.
Oh my god.
And she's like, these aren't practical. These are gas guzzlers. What if you can't find any gas? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, which one do you want? She's like, that one. And it's just like a regular SUV.
And they're like,
But
They're like, no.
the RV.
After all this, you don't see anything that you want.
Yeah.
And she turns around and she sees one, and she's like,
yeah, a Volkswagen.
It has,
Yeah.
it has like muted tones or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's like an old 70s Volkswagen.
oh yeah, that can, yeah.
It's not an old set. It's like a
Modern one, but to her appeal.
It was
Yeah.
it was the interior design
Yeah.
that she was impressed by, and so she said, "Ooh!" But then they're like, "Oh my God, zombies found us!" So
Yeah.
then they
They
just
gotta
jump
go.
in the first raggedy thing they see, and it's like
course
an
they
ice
do.
cream truck or something, and they somehow escape because they're talking to her. They're like, "You might as well just come with us."
Yeah.
And they're like, "The most thing is to be with some people, not by yourself." And so she's just kind of like,
Fine. Yep. She's like,
"You
fine.
got me."
She's still got the rogue in her. But
like,
she's
"You
smart.
got me."
Yeah.
They
So
broke her down.
They broke her down. So they're going off on the RV, and Kencho's riding a little
Motorcycle.
that he had. All of a sudden, he wipes out. They spin out. There's road spikes. And then when they come up and come to, his old boss is standing there
course
with
he
a
is.
baseball bat. And he's like, basically he's like, you know what? I'll let you go. I'll fix your tires. I'll feed you everything. You just need to work for me for 2 days.
Oh no.
2 days.
Don't do it.
And this whole time, Akira,
Don't do
he's like having a legit anxiety attack.
Well, yeah.
Kencho's down. He's
Hurt.
injured.
He's hurt.
Bleeding.
Wow.
He's hurt. And so like he needs medical care. The boss is like, we can give him care. I just need 2 days from you. And so he's sucked into working for the boss again.
Oh man.
And it's
that is a twist I did not see coming.
It's such a
That's
gut
why
punch.
catch you up.
Is such a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because every time he's looking at the dude, he's having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, because that's your tormentor.
Yeah.
That's coming face to face with the man that tormented you for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years. Like you had no life. You had no will of your own. You had no total subjugation to like somebody's whose personality was stronger and more dominant. And then now he's got a bat. He's got road spikes. Your friend is injured.
He's got a
and it's like,
legion of people with him.
yep, of course he does, because it's that kind of dominant personality. And the thing is that he should have taken the bat and broken that dude's head and kept pounding it until it was like nothing but a smashed pumpkin.
Yeah.
Because that's how you deal with people like that.
Yeah, especially in post-apocalypse.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I'm saying, Jack. You don't do that in normal society, Jack.
I mean, I was gonna
Normal
get
society-
the sunglasses.
Yeah,
But
normal,
you think it.
normal society, you quit the job and you put as much distance as you can from that person. In the middle of the apocalypse, you say, you say, sure, I'll work for you. And the minute you have a bat in your hand, you strike them in the head with it.
Remind me not to be next to you during the next apocalypse.
Hey,
You don't wanna be
you
near
might want to be.
You're on power.
You don't want to be near me during the zombie apocalypse either, because we've had these discussions.
We have had these
And
discussions.
I am ruthless. If you have no value for me, you are
He will leave you at the side of the road.
You are dying. I'm not leaving you at the side. You have to die because I cannot risk you coming back. So
Well, somebody like
I
that,
don't
like-
care. We had this talk. This was before you. I think this might have been when Simon was with me.
Even
and we
before
had
me.
this talk. I'm like, I don't care if you're 12. If you come up to me and you have no value, you have to die.
Kids are a tough
have
one.
to die
I don't
because you're old enough to cause chaos. Like if you're a doctor and you can like fix people up,
Yeah,
I'll keep you.
yeah, that's a
If
guarantee.
you're like a botanist and you know how to like take this thing to make this thing and make medicine, I'll keep you. If you're a
Craftsman.
woman, I might keep you locked away.
Just don't get pregnant.
Because you could like bring back the human race, but I can't have you around too many people because many wars have started over women. So it's like y'all have to be locked away.
Oh my God.
You have to be locked away.
That's crazy.
This episode's going to need a disclaimer.
You have to be locked away. I'm sorry. This is for your protection. Trust me, I will protect you. You have to be locked away though. And then like anybody that comes around, if you have no value, I can't turn you around because you could come back with people. You have to die. I would be ruthless.
Don't walk into
I would
Jamal's
be
camp.
ruthless.
Don't even accidentally walk into Jamal's camp.
No. You better have some sort of value to you. If you don't, you have to die. I'm sorry.
I don't miss.
But I'm going to be reviving things.
Let's hope they'd never find a cure because then they're coming after you, man.
That's why I had the doctors and the botanists and all that.
Oh,
It would probably not even be the doctor, because like it'd be some like idiot on the side of the road who accidentally creates it. I feel like.
That's tough.
Well, then if he has a cure, he can come in.
Nah, but you wouldn't know. You just need some crazy person.
If you're crazy, you can come in. I'll have to keep you locked
There's
up.
still going to be an investigation anyway. Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
The trials afterwards.
Yeah,
You
like
use it as a dead
remember in
witness.
Attack on Titan when they kept Annie locked up?
Yeah.
I would have something like that.
Annie was literally an ice cube.
So,
Annie, she was powerful as hell. I don't blame him.
yeah, see, I would have to do it. I love you ladies, but I have to protect you. You have to be
I'm
locked
gonna send this video to your lady.
Huh?
I'm gonna send this
she
video
knows.
to your lady.
She knows.
You know, Jamal's
Christina's going to survive us all at the end of the
viewpoint.
day.
Yeah.
She's 2 steps ahead of the game. Let's
Our
put it that way.
discussions about the zombie apocalypse took a dark turn. Yeah.
It
So
does.
let's go back to the
I think
positivity
I had
of.
that discussion with Tony. Rest in peace.
Oh.
We definitely had that discussion. We're like, the women have to be locked away. There's no other way it will work. They have to be locked away.
Yeah, because what do we see with the with Tencho and the one girl? Like they got
See?
distracted. Yeah.
They got distracted and almost died. They have to be locked away for your protection. I will give you plenty. You will have plenty of entertainment and food, and you'll be well
Yeah.
taken care of.
He's
You have
like,
to be locked
but
away.
I got the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the turn. After the flight attendant dies, it's like, TV, okay.
Well, that was like, I think, the tonal turn.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. The high energy,
Yeah.
it's what's that word I'm
Though
thinking of?
my thing is, I'll be really sad if they don't keep the level of ridiculousness, because that's one of
I wanna see
my
the shirt.
yeah.
Well, how many
Dude.
how many volumes at the moment? Like 8 or so
I'm not. No, there's got to be more than that because they've been recommending that book to me.
for 2022.
Yeah, they've been recommending, like, every time I go to buy manga on Amazon, like, they'll be like, hey, you might like Zom 100. Hey, you might like
Yeah.
Zom 100. Yeah.
The only place I did manga is from Mitsuwa. Shout out Mitsuwa.
Mitsuwa.
Kinokuniya.
I said it was
I
Kinamiya.
read-
No.
It's
Shout
like,
out to Mitsuwa for hoarding all of the. Christina,
Spy Family,
we went
man.
there.
Yeah.
they
what
had
was it?
literally all the Spy Family.
They have the
Volume
box set of Demon Slayer.
1. Yeah.
Wednesday. We went in there Wednesday. And it wasn't even a manga. It was just a book that Christina wanted. She's like, I have not been able to find this anywhere.
Because they're all at Mitsuwa.
Mitsuwa. had it.
Kinokuniya.
Mitsuwa has stuff that I don't see anywhere else, and I'm like, how do you have this? There was a random Harley Quinn book, and I'm like, I hadn't seen this in my store. I hadn't seen it in Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah, I didn't find like most of the Jujutsu Kaisen volumes, like only up to like 15 on like
Yeah.
Amazon. They had up to 19 at Mitsuwa. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
And then the Kenji too, if you want to do it like I do.
Yeah, they're up to 20 now. I have to get to the
They
20th.
have they hoard everything.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, for my distributor. It's like I can't get this, and it's like it's all over.
And
there.
you're in the industry.
yeah, yeah.
And you can't get it.
No.
But they have it all.
Look, I
and
said
they have extra boxes of them.
I set email reminders for when this stuff is going to come out, and I still can't get in it. I'm like, man, come on.
But they have them in
Yeah,
boxes.
Chainsaw Man, I ordered 60 copies of Volume 1. I should have ordered like 200 because that display was just like, in 2 days, it was just like gone. And I'm like, damn it. But you know who had some?
Yes.
You know who had some? Mitsuwa.
A whole wall of them.
I know.
I feel like Barnes and Noble has really like let down a lot of like anime fans because like they only have like normal books. I feel like they don't have like.
Well,
They have an anime section, but I mean a manga section, but it's not.
No.
It's not very.
Well, most places don't have, like, Mitsuwa is like a special place because.
in my heart.
Yeah.
special place and
I did find
Bart.
so that bookshop actually has a one in New York.
yeah, that's
that
a chain.
was,
There's
like,
there's
yeah.
4 or 5 of them in
There
America.
was one in New York that I went to, and oh my god, dude, like the whole second floor. No, yeah, this was the whole second floor was nothing but manga.
Really?
Yeah, like they had like shelf after shelf after, like the whole floor going like that part of the library, that whole part going all the way back.
Damn.
Yeah, and because they had so one side was the English version, right? The English versions. The other side was the Japanese versions. So they literally had a mirror store. It was phenomenal. I'm like, I don't know what to buy. There was so much. I'm like,
and you didn't even see the figures. You didn't even see like the.
Oh, I saw the figures.
Oh man, or
I
Ghibli
saw the
section.
figures.
Yeah,
I saw it, dude. I saw the figures. They had. I saw the figures.
I said, oh,
They were not all appropriate, but they
No.
were there. Yeah. There was a Chizu Mizuhara gift one where she was coming out of the gift box and not much.
I'm number one
Yeah.
girlfriend. I'm not rent a
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah, those are always expensive. Too.
They are.
They
Very
got stuff like
expensive.
that at me too.
When's the
Like
girlfriend?
$300. I'm like,
I know. I bought the Inosuke swords for like $150.
oh yeah.
They're not even the real ones.
That's the sword you said?
The Inosuke ones.
Oh, no, stay.
From
Inosuke. Sorry, I can't speak sometimes.
it's okay, Marble Mouth. So Zom 100, we're definitely gonna keep up with it.
Well,
Do you think this is gonna be? It's early. Well, we're starting to get a little late.
It's the middle of the season
This-
already.
we're-
Yeah.
I mean, in the year, we're starting to get a little late.
yeah,
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
Do you think this is going to be a contender for one of your top 10 shows of the year?
Oh yeah, it's there.
I think there's going to be the clarified number one.
Top 10 at the moment for sure. I'm not sure which placing.
It's in there right now. Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's up there. Because this year has not, honestly been a little weaker, I feel
Well,
like.
summer.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alright,
Hold on.
so,
Let me go
alright.
through this simulcast.
All right, so let's think about
We were-
Before I say that statement, let me
we
recant
had
that for
Blue
now.
Lock this year.
Blue Lock is my top 10 already.
Birdie Wing.
We
I
had
have not watched
Attack
Birdie
on
Wing.
Titan.
But Attack on Titan, that was one
Well,
episode.
Attack Titan's coming soon. Though.
No, it was
It was that one like hour-long episode, I thought.
no, it was like 2 or 3 episodes. It was 2 or 3,
Demon-
but they were essentially like 3 episodes in one stream. So it was like
A mini-
an hour
a mini
and
movie.
a half,
Yeah.
but it was very clearly like 3 or 4 separate episodes.
Technically a
into one
movie,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we had Attack on Titan, we had Blue Lock, we had another season of Demon Slayer, we got Jujutsu Kaisen coming out,
Kaguya-sama
we
movie.
got Kaguya-sama, we got Mushkou Tensei, we
Oh,
got
Dr. Stone. I forgot Dr. Stone came
we
out
got
this year.
Dr.
Yeah.
the
Stone,
movie. Yeah.
Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw.
No, that was last year.
Was that last year?
That was last year.
Last year.
That
Nothing
was
this
last
year.
year.
No.
Wow.
That was last year.
Watching anime
Tomo.
makes life go by so
Tomo,
quick.
we had Tomo.
Jack's tip.
We
Yeah.
got the
I think
Missing
that's gonna
Piece of
make
Sword
Jack's.
Mia,
Yeah.
We had a lot that came out this year. We're not at the end of the year yet, so we don't. But
Yeah, and Spy Famous coming out, things like that. Goblin Slayer. I love
so
Goblin
we
Slayer.
have a lot, but I think we're all in agreement. Zom 100, very strong show, and it's going to be a top 10 contender of the year for us.
Alrighty, so next on board.
I'm so ready.
Mushkou Tensei, let's go. So this was like one of the first episodes that we covered.
Yeah,
right?
third.
Third?
Yeah.
Really early
So
on.
our
Yeah.
third episode, we did this in
Reincarnate. Yeah.
Ascendant.
No,
Reincarnated
reincarnated
as a
slime.
Yeah.
Reincarnated slime. You're
That
right.
came out this year?
No.
No.
Okay.
That's
okay.
when,
okay. All right. Before we get to Mushkou Tensei, I want your comments on the Reincarnated as a Slime movie because
I'll do it in
did
actually
this-
like one word.
Okay.
Ass.
Okay. I like that review.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened
Yeah.
at all.
And
This is a second opinion based on what I said before.
all right.
Okay.
She's my language, by the way.
No, it's okay. It wasn't the movie. There was just nothing to it.
It was like all this build up for nothing actually to happen.
Nothing happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, because they want content, but it's like they don't really want to. Sometimes, like, was it an OVA?
No, this was an actual movie.
No, but I mean, was it content that was covered in the manga or not covered in the manga?
I have no
I
idea.
believe it was just like the side story.
Yeah, so it's like
Was it like a
sometimes-
light novel or something?
Well, yeah, because sometimes what they don't want is for the movie. Sometimes, like Mugen Train, there's a point.
Yeah, there was a
That's
It was
an arc.
a continuation.
It's
of
a
the story.
continuation. It's part of the manga. They decided to do it that way as a movie because they're like, we'll make some money off of this. They invest a lot of money in it. With what
And
I
they
feel
made
like
a lot of money.
they did, but I think what happens sometimes is with these other movies, it's like they know, they're like, hey, look, that studio made a lot of money with that movie. So what property do we have where we can do that with without affecting the main story? And I think that's when you get into a dangerous territory where it's like, we're going to do this, but we can't really affect the main storyline, or we don't want to, or this doesn't have any like effects. And so you end up with something like that where it's like you have all your favorite characters doing stuff, but is it relevant?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's two ways of going about it, and I've seen both. Because I've seen, like, you know, that the way that they did it, and I've seen the Demon Slayer way. I've seen, like, Dragon Ball that does movies. Like, I know they just came out with the superhero movie last year, and I think it's now getting adapted into the manga now. So, I mean, I personally prefer it that way. Or if you're going to give me a side story, give me a fully fleshed out side story. If you make a light novel a story.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's still part of the world. I mean, but if you're going to come with something original, come with it.
Pause.
And they just didn't do it. Haha, that's what you get. Told you I'm impossible. But they just did. It was a letdown. A letdown. I mean,
It was like a filler episode, a giant filler episode.
It felt like one big filler episode. Pause. So, if
That
you
was
guys want to watch it, you could. But I again would like you're not missing anything if you don't watch it.
I'll spoil it actually. No, I won't spoil that. I won't spoil it.
You can spoil it.
Whoever.
No, go ahead. You can spoil it.
So the entire point of that movie, like it was like, oh, it was a big sacrifice. It didn't even happen. Like they never revived. Like nothing even happened. Like, the entire base of the movie just don't worry about it.
Yeah, it just.
It was a cool fight scene at least.
We got a cool fight scene at the end. We got a cool fight scene, and
And sometimes that's the whole point. You got
My Hero.
hour and a half.
I spent 90 minutes to get 5 minutes of good.
My
fight.
My Hero Academia movies are essentially that. Like the best parts are the fights, and like that's fine.
I've never seen a My Hero movie.
That's kind of. I mean, that's that anime is more action centric.
Yeah, but they're spin-off.
the fights are kind of the point. Yeah.
The first and second one at least. The third one I think is part of the canon. So I'm like,
is that the one where it's like Bakugo and Dr. like they both have?
Yeah, they pretty much become Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was thinking about.
I had to accept it. I'm like
The transition.
That's the second movie. I love the second movie. Second movie's fun.
Yeah,
but
that's
at the end of the
cool.
day, it's like popcorn. Yum yum.
I think we knew what it was.
Wait, did My Hero season 4 come out this year?
No, season
Six.
six.
Okay,
I
I'm
like
gonna add
this.
that to
I like
this
it better
one.
than the last two.
Season 6 did come out this year. See, we got some heavy hitters this year.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah, and I'm gonna finish the last arc, and it's good build up. I'm like, I like this season.
So Mushkou Tensei.
Yes. On to Mushkou Tensei.
Here
As
we
we
go.
said, we covered the first season
Really early
in
on.
our first season. So please go back and check that out, and then
And this is the second season.
listen to our follow up on it. I think we did a small catch up when we got the Eris Goblin Slayer OVA.
Yes,
We did, yeah.
So we did that, and now we're here at the second season. So, what are your guys' thoughts on it? How you feeling?
I'm not sure, well, one definite thing is I don't like the changes they made to the opening and the ending.
Yeah, so it's no longer. It doesn't matter. Now you can skip it.
it's a good song. I like the song.
Yeah, but it's like that was one of my favorite things about the first season.
Yeah,
You
the
had to
way
watch
it
it
set
fully.
the scene.
I give you that. The minutia of it.
Yeah, well, I thought that it did a lot for the world building.
Yes.
And I get that this season he's not moving around as much, so you don't need it as much.
But like, it'd be cool to see the side characters like moving around during the intro and everything
Very
like
much.
that.
Sure,
yeah,
I agree.
very much.
Yeah.
Because they're skipping a lot of content. Because I watched this one YouTuber, he is like goes over all the stip content, and so like it'd be nice like if they would show some of that stip. I know it's a lot of work for the animators, but like it would be nice to see all that.
Kind of like a horror media situation too. Yeah.
Well, because it's like this season feels a lot more closed off from the world
Oh, it
Yes.
is.
than the previous season.
Yeah,
Even the first
absolutely.
couple episodes.
Yeah, it feels like it's like like Rudy is the focus now. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like this is his
He's
show.
the singular focus.
Yeah. Like you're not gonna get Roxy, you're not gonna get his dad, you're not gonna get anybody else. It's like it is now him, 24/7.
Because he is him.
Yeah, like like this is like we're gonna get him, and like I'm not sure how I feel about this season yet. I'm really not. I'm really.
We're about episode 7 and 8 range in the prequel
8.
episode.
Yeah.
We're getting there,
And
and
it's Sylvie's own episode.
So yeah, Sylphie's episode was the first episode, and again, that felt
we talked
like
about that too, where it was like we weren't sure really what that
what
episode
that
was meant to establish.
Yeah, because it.
I think
Part
maybe
of
because
it
some people
felt
be
like
confused.
Another OVA.
Yeah.
Technically.
I think it was just to introduce like what happened to Sophie, because Sophie was like they didn't show anything after the.
No, she disappeared.
They never showed anything about the mom disaster.
What the episode was about. It just felt very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, and we talked about this previously. Like, I knew like as soon as that episode happened, I'm like, oh, okay, well, she's gonna meet up with Rudy. In this season, and he's gonna reconnect. So like I saw that, but it's just the transition to her, the way they started it was just like her coming from the sky in this thing, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here. She's dropping from the so like
it was very jarring.
Like I understand that the incident happened where they all got displaced.
It's technically a mini flashback.
It's not a flashback.
Well, okay, from the transition from the previous season where it ends up with Rudy and disbanding with the Dead End. Then the new episode, technically after Eris's arc, Goblin Slayer adventure, that's technically a flashback too.
Yeah, because that was right after. That should not have been right after.
Flashbacks at all.
Because Goblin Slayer episode was right when Rudius got his demon eye.
Yeah, what I mean is, a story, then we get the side story that took place before these events happened. Then we got Sylvie during the separation. That's like during the first season, technically.
Yeah, that episode should have been like episode 7 of season 1.
I don't think so.
Because I think what Jamal's saying is that they're not flashbacks because they don't happen the way normal flashbacks would.
Yeah.
Where
it's a reintroduction.
Somebody would be walking along and saying, "Hey," and then they flash back.
Yeah.
This is like these are actually like jumps in time.
Yes.
To they're like literal jumps in time.
They're time skips.
Yeah, they're time jumps to another time period. With that character.
Yeah.
So is it a flashback or is it like, okay, I'm cutting back temporally to this so that you can see what happened to this character?
That's what I'm trying. What Edwin said.
Because a flashback, it's literally a flash, like boom.
Like a second.
Like you get a scene. These are like full stories that we're getting.
I felt like it was more just like a recap. That's like all it was.
I felt like they needed to.
Because you can't just reintroduce a white silver-haired or a white-haired elf in the story that kind of looks like Sophie and expect a lot of people to know it. Because a lot of people are dumb. That's the fact.
You know what? That's one thing that bothered me. Like, even if you were to just drop her without giving me that first episode and Rudy running to her at the school, I'm like, that's Sylphie.
Yeah.
Like, it looks just like her with different color hair.
And theirs,
And one thing that bothered me was Rudy has been so perceptive with people, and he's staring right at her, and he can't figure that out.
No, that's Mr. Fitz. I don't think. Yeah.
Well, I think
be right to Mr. Fitz.
That's part of what I know, right? Don't be rude, Jamal.
I'm rude because I would have been like,
you universal
like
hater right here. Universal hater. Equal opportunity hater.
She just didn't look like a mister to me. Like it's just like
the voice too, man.
Well, I think this goes back
the voice.
to
There was. It's not like she changed her voice. She got the exact same hairstyle. Is maybe cut a little bit and different color.
She did it both because she was silent. Remember, that says silent Fitz.
She's been talking.
She's been talking.
Yeah, but that's why
she's talking to other people too.
That's all I started with the before.
She was silent. She's pretty much silent to everybody else, but she talks to him.
Yeah.
Well, I think this goes back to Rudy's blind spot when it comes to her.
Yeah, this happens the first time.
Yeah. Like everybody else knew that she was a girl before he did.
Maybe he's just into femboys. I don't know.
It may be.
He dived into that. He did.
I don't know.
Part of me, like the moment when he gets drunk and goes to the whorehouse and he's drunk,
That was
and
funny.
he starts like dissing that girl.
That was another weird thing to me.
No, because the thing is, a lot of these things are temporary for Rudy, and that's one of the things that bothers me about this season the most, is because it's like there are moments where things are going to happen,
And they
like
don't.
when Eris left, I thought that was the perfect like F you to Rudy.
Yes.
But at the same time, I also thought that it was perfect because it was a choice that she made.
Yes.
It wasn't like the plot was It wasn't like the story was deciding that for him. Eris made a choice.
Exactly.
With these other things, I feel like
He's letting himself dictate along.
No, I feel like the story is saying,
It's dictating.
hey, we need Rudy. Like the path that Rudy is on is not. These are temporary waypoints along the way for him. He's going to end up somewhere else. This is his journey. So we need him. There are moments where we need him to be very, very perceptive and a good person, and then there are moments where we need him to be a total asshole and an idiot.
Also, the slave episode was so weird.
See,
that was a weird. That whole like.
I think it was kind of like a kind of a knack on Rise of the Shield Hero. Just a smidge.
I think it might have been. No, but this one came out before Rise of the Shield Hero.
No, after.
The light novel was a thought.
Light novel.
Good call. Good call.
This is like more than 10 years old, right?
Yeah, good call.
Like 15. This is like Mushkou Tensei is like one of the grandfathers of Isekai.
Yeah,
Good
that's
call.
Yeah.
Edwin, I agree with you. He's looking for some.
Don't leave him
I agree
hanging.
with you 100%, because that's the same feeling I had about Rudy for this season.
Yeah.
I feel like too much of it is they need Rudy to do this for the story. And that was my problem with his perception of Sylphie. That was my thing when they have him he meets the group and he meets the girl in there that reminds him of Eris. And you just know, you're like, oh, this thing. And I'm like, oh no, is she going to get added to his harem? And I'm like,
I mean, it was kind of spoiled to me to like they do those.
yeah. As he's
Well,
like
I mean,
fighting through those emotions.
Well,
and
people
then he
meet
meets
people
with the dude that's just like his dad.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, do I need to go through this circle again?
Yeah.
And I
Rudy,
had
because
to go
Because I
through it
thought
again.
I think it actually was necessary because he needed his father right then, and his father was so far.
I agree with Kyle. I think that in life, like if you don't learn the lessons, you keep repeating them. And I think Rudy sometimes he doesn't learn the lessons, and so he keeps repeating them.
Yeah.
And thus the reincarnation themes.
But I seen that with everybody, even with when he meets up with the group with the girl that like not the girl that he likes, the girl that was kind of like the not leader. She reminded me a lot of I can't remember her name. The Beast girl that trained him in the
Delane?
first season. Yes.
Did not remind me whatsoever.
She reminded me
Delane.
of her in not in
What?
like she reminded me not in her character design or anything, but she reminded me of her in the role that she played for Rudy. She played like this like kind of protective type thing, but like, hey man, you need to get up and go. Because he's sitting there and he's like wallowing, and she finds him and she's like,
Delane
"Come on."
never really was like that, I thought.
She was tough on him.
yeah, sure.
She was very tough on him, and this girl, she was pretty tough on him too.
But not
she's
to the
like
extreme. But
she's not to the extreme.
I thought she was tough. I thought Delane was tough on Rudius because she saw him as an equal. Because like he was teaching her all the magic and all the like reading and stuff like that, arithmetic and anything like that.
Yeah,
so I thought she saw him as like an equal.
Well, he had a thing for her.
Yeah,
He
who
lusted
wouldn't?
after her, but she did see him like that. But he also leaned on her for a lot. I thought he leaned on her for a lot too.
I agree. But I think too that like as people, and that's one of the things that I like about this show, because you get to see that progression in a life, and I think that that's what this is. This is his life's journey. You're gonna gravitate toward people who had those roles in your life, or like there are going to be personalities that are going to like, because I think that lady would have done that for anybody that she saw
I think so too.
in that position.
I think so too.
And
Okay,
so
yeah.
like that's who she is. And she ran into Rudius and she's like, all right, I'm going to help you, you know? And I think that he runs into these people who are similar to the people that he, like him ending up with somebody, he ended up being kind of sort of friends with somebody who was like his dad makes a lot more sense than him going down the right path continuously. Because he could have he could have stayed there, figured out his things with that girl, and made it work at some point, maybe after a certain amount of time. But that's not what's in the cards for him, and so he fucked it up.
That was a royal
So when
fuck up.
does he learn?
Huh?
So when does he learn?
I think he will learn some things and not others.
I think he
I
did
think he'll
learn.
grow in some ways.
how
but not
much?
others.
How much?
How much time and how much?
How much time?
It,
will
it,
that
it
do?
probably never be resolved.
Well, if you notice, he's different.
He is a little
He's
different. Yes.
So he's growing
a
and
little
changing. But there are certain things, and I totally agree with you with the selfie thing, the Sylvie thing. I'm like, no.
It's ongoing.
I can't.
No,
it's
I'm like,
it's too
no.
hard. For
I'm
me.
like,
It's
who
so
is
aggravating.
buying this? Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
oh, when he said the scene, like, I feel like if we took off the sunglasses, it would have all went down.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we know it would have.
like,
Right.
bro, what? And then it's been 3 episodes and nothing's happened.
And she's very coy, and it's like,
I love how she teases him about it. Oh my god, I love Sophie.
Well, my thing is,
it's
like,
part of the gag.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, it's like what she knows.
Mm-hmm.
She like absolutely knows, and for me, I feel kind of like
She knew from jump.
yeah. But for me, it's kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? It's like this man is thinking he's having feelings for a dude, and it's like, and we're all sitting there like, no, dude, no. We all know.
We all know.
But my thing is, what's her? I'm like, do you have that much loyalty to the princess at this point?
In a way.
where you're not going to like tell your childhood friend that, hey,
Well,
this is me.
the thing with
And
the
you know what?
princess,
You
yeah.
know what? Honestly, she shouldn't. She shouldn't tell him because Rudy will find a way to fuck that up.
She shouldn't tell him. I mean, and it was funny too because he's like, you know, when he meets the other guardian, and he's like, "Don't you know who I am?" And Rudy's like, "No."
Related, bruh.
Like, I'm a gray rat too.
I'm a gray rat.
Yeah, and then like I feel like they need to like go more in depth of like the whole like what happened with the
It's a
Notos.
good backstory.
The Notos
It's
rats.
a good backstory
Yeah.
at the moment. I kind of like that, to be honest.
Well, they're essentially the scandalized.
Yeah, because going back to his father technically was outcasted.
Well, they're
yeah,
the
we get that.
scandalized nobility.
Yeah.
They touch on that a bit, Paul,
Buying
because
buying and trading and selling
Beast
beast
people,
women.
yeah.
and, like,
Yeah.
Also,
raping them.
the,
the princess is
old
part
man.
of that same area. She's
Yeah.
part of the same
Yeah.
region, but she's like a different family.
Yeah.
But you could tell that like her family is the highly regarded one.
And
the grave
and she's gonna be a future.
Kind of like,
She's technically gonna be future queen one day.
Yeah, and the old man that was speaking with the princess in the episode 0 is actually I think I don't want to. I hope I'm not wrong with this. It is his dad, Rudius's dad. I don't know why Paul. It's Paul. Paul's brother. It's Paul's brother that she was talking to.
Uncle.
Yeah. So the uncle is the guy that she was talking to.
Okay.
yeah, because
The other uncle was introduced from last season.
we met the uncle.
Yeah.
We met the uncle
Yes.
in the first season.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I do remember that. So yeah, that was and the slave selling thing. So we go from the slave trade thing, which was like, why was that the solution that you came up with?
Yeah. For to find a slave that can help make figures.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, well,
And
you
how
know,
it was so like not what's the word I'm looking for, like nonchalant about it, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna buy a slave to do
Yeah.
it.
It's
Well,
just
part
like-
of the world, part of
Yeah.
No, and not just any slave. Buy a child slave
Yes.
because it's easier to teach them that. And it's just like,
What?
why is that the solution that you come up with? I don't understand. And then you transition from that to him essentially enslaving those two beast women.
Yeah,
those two
that
beast
was-
girls,
That was a wild 2
which
episodes
was
in a row.
another
That
thing
was
that was wild.
like, what?
And now it's like,
Though
I can pretty much sexually harass you whenever, or sexually assault you whenever I darn well please.
well, because
It's
he
so weird.
because in that culture, he essentially showed dominance over the two women.
Yeah,
And
because
so-
they went over that in the last episode
Yeah,
where
yeah.
the beast woman, if they lose the duel, that like that's who runs their tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he essentially showed dominance over them, and that's why she was like, "Okay, boss."
Also, I loved when Persona was divvying up I forget the other girl's name.
Oh well, the one exit onto
Yeah.
the other.
She was like, "I'm not easy, but you can touch her." I
Yeah.
was wheezing every time.
He's like, why would you do that?
And
You
then
sold
she
me
agrees,
out.
and then
Was
it's
it like
My favorite.
Linnea, I think.
yeah.
Well, both are great. Both.
My
Are.
favorite is when they're sitting there, and Rudy's like totally lost in his Roxyism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only
The goddess. The
and yeah, and
goddess.
his pupil and the little slave girl are Roxy,
Roxy.
and the two girls are freaking out because they're like, we're dealing with a cult here. These guys are cult. This is a cult. We're crazy. We're gonna die.
How I miss Roxy.
Yeah,
Oh.
and then they show up, and Fritz is like, all right, let's go check this out, and he is not taking care of those girls at all.
No.
No food. I'm like, dude, this is why you don't kidnap people, man.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got to feed them. They pee. It's like, come on, dude.
Why
are
did you say it
doing?
like that? You speaking from experience?
No.
No. Well,
Good answer. Good answer.
What I'm saying is like, Rudy, don't. Well, my thing was like, Rudy, don't do this. You know, it's like, well, because like what Jamaal was saying is like, this guy always crosses lines where you're just like, you know, if you just thought for 2 seconds,
And how
you would realize this is a bad idea.
And how smart he is, ironically.
All of this would have been solved in the beginning if he was like, I know your dad.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the tribe in general. And Giselle. And
Well,
Giselle.
and I
I
think-
saved your tribe.
but I
I
think-
know Ghislaine. I know
Ghislaine.
your dad. I saved the tribe. Like he could
I
have
didn't even save the mythical beast.
Yeah, he could have ended all of that, but like instead, he's just like
he's still
not
figuring
saying
out. He's still
anything
figuring out the
until
culture.
after they're enslaved, and he's like, "Oh, let
and
me
this is
drop
a question
one.
that a question that I'm going to pose to all of you about this season is that he keeps trying to present himself as a certain kind of person throughout this season.
And when he's not.
He is and he isn't. Like he has
Similar
his,
to Ash.
like he has his like the whole Roxy and the panties thing is like
Gag.
gets to a certain degree of like what the fuck.
It's, I mean,
but like him
yeah,
pretending
it's
to be like when they were calling him Quagmire, he was like, all right, I'm going to help everybody. I'm going to heal everybody. But then, I'm a total ass and I do this to this girl. And it's like, all right, so who are you, Rudy?
I think he's just trying to find himself again.
But I get that part.
I think Orsted fucked with his head so heavily.
Yeah, and Man God in general, too.
Man God
Yeah,
is a
because
dick. that guy.
you
that's
guys
the
watched the new
problem.
episode, right?
Yeah.
So with the body daddy, you remember his face like changed the second he heard Orsted?
Yeah, the demon God. He stopped laughing. He's
Yeah, so I think
He changed the
that
subject,
fucked with
too.
his head so hard. I think that he has lost every bit of confidence he ever had. And then Ares, like a week later, taking his
him,
V card and then dipping on him. Like he lost every shred of confidence in himself, I feel like.
Yeah, in,
Good.
in which later on,
He's a teen class magician at like age 10. He
no,
deserves
no. He's a grown adult dude.
yes, he is.
That's
Yes.
been-
No, back
Yes,
then.
yes,
And
yes.
That's
then-
been reincarnated,
Yes,
but he
I agree with
still
you.
has the
That's the
mind of
argument,
the
yeah.
adult dude.
It's two
But-
lives in parallel form.
But I think that when you think about the adult dude wasn't very developed either.
no, yes.
And that's what
he
I
was
think
trapped in a
that's
high
where-
school mind.
Yeah, and that's where that's where his infantile.
Yes, erectile
his-
dysfunction.
Well, no,
No.
and I'm not saying erectile dysfunction. I'm saying
talking about
his
his infantile
mindset, where he's worshiping like Roxy and her underwear.
Yes.
And I think that that's part of like because he's
Not just rock. He keeps trying to steal people's underwear. Even this season, he's trying to.
that
steal
was
people's
not
underwear.
intentional.
No,
that
no, that
Fritz
was not.
set him
Not
up.
the Fritz one.
Oh, okay.
But he was trying to take.
Whose underwear was he trying to steal?
One of the Beast Girls, I thought.
Yeah, I think it might have been one of the Beast Girls.
I think.
No.
He was trying to get some, or he was looking.
He was
at
trying to test if
somebody's-
his ED was still
He
happening.
was trying to look
Yeah.
at somebody's underwear or take somebody's underwear at some point.
It wasn't.
he
It
grabbed
wasn't
some-
his travel partner.
He grabbed somebody's boob to see if like he's like they're like, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm just testing
Yeah.
something.
Well,
'cause
yeah,
he didn't
well-
feel anything.
He grabbed one of the lion girls.
Yeah.
I think not Persina, but the other one,
Yeah,
Linnea. I
yeah.
think.
He didn't feel anything, so he's like, well, whatever.
Yeah. Well, back to the one of the weird.
Did he take one of their panties?
He didn't. I mean, he dried them because they pissed themselves because they're locked in a room for all day.
For like a day and a half. Yeah.
I'll have to go back. I feel like I remember him
Just
trying
like,
to
Rudy,
take some
why
of
are
his
you
pages.
doing this?
Yeah,
Why?
well,
Why was this necessary?
And part of the logic with him, even though he was a grown adult male, he didn't experience life fully normally because of his bullying. In that point where one of the weird necks of the show is that he has to overcome ED.
That's a wild topic, by the way.
I was like,
yeah.
Well, and I don't.
Part of what Jamaal said with the.
But it's ED caused by emotional distress.
Yes.
It's not like
and with Iris as well, losing his fee card, experienced these things at the first time, and then his travel partner, of course, being a lustrous elf. All these sexual themes are kind of like a good contrast because it's like I have to grow up normally.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, even this fantasy world where everything's
they're still growing up normally in this world.
So
That's another thing that bothers me about this season. I'm so sick.
Of everything being overly horny.
I'm so sick of Rudy's sexual, just everything sexual about Rudy. This entire season is just about him, and I'm sick of this. I understand it's a hang-up. I understand the emotional distress that Eris caused. I understand these things, but I am so sick of it being so central
to the plot,
everything, to the plot that's going on.
Yeah. And it never goes away.
It never goes away.
It's introduced in every interaction with almost every character, and at least almost every character.
Almost every character.
It's either the girls or like Fritz, and you're like, and it's back and forth.
It's Fitz.
And even with the guys, he's like talking about it with them, trying to figure it out. And I'm just like,
Everyone else just loves Zenoba.
Huh?
Zenoba, the freak dude, the super strong guy. Everyone else just love how he's just wild. He's like the only non-horny character in this entire season. The tall dude with the bowl cut.
His pupil.
Yeah, he's technically strong. Because,
He's like the only one that's.
Season,
He's just a figurine lover.
Him.
no, I don't like him. He's a weirdo too.
Him and the slave girl just cracked me up.
He's got.
Oh my! When he got angry and the little slave girl just starts to walk away, that was
She's
fun.
like-
Hilarious. She was like,
She realized I should not be here.
He's got that weirdo sex stuff about him too. Because you see the scene where he was like humping the figure, the statue,
naked too. Yeah,
and
that was like just one horny moment though.
no,
this entire
because they
season.
insinuated that he did things with the figurines too.
Oh, okay, I might have missed
and
that.
how obsessed he is with the Roxy.
Rudy says that he did stuff with the figurines. Zenoba, you're not really. You know he did stuff with the statues, but you're not really sure.
He did
because
stuff with
at
the
first
figurines.
you think that's exactly what he did with the Roxy statue, because that's where your mind goes.
Yeah.
But then you realize it goes into something much worse that involves like dominance and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, this show
Beast Girls.
This show goes to that. Yeah.
But no, I agree with Jamaal. There's been a lot of focus on that one issue.
Yeah,
But I think that's the most relevant issue to Rudy right now.
Yeah, and for his growth.
you could tell the story of Rudy without that.
I don't think so.
It
I
was
think
until
you
remember the
can.
man god.
I don't
put that back in his head. Remember?
Yeah, the man god said this. You'll find your solution there. 'Cause
I
Rudy was ready to go find his mom, and the man god said, "Hey, look,
Dora Renoa.
go there and you'll solve this problem." And Rudy's like, "All right, I can find a solution to it."
the problem for me, I get that. The problem for me is that
The way it's playing out.
Bro, get you some
Pills.
whatever
The
thing-
aphrodisiac,
not the
remember.
pills, whatever the things is called,
Spells.
the horse thing or whatever.
Horse
What?
tranquilizer. Horse tranquilizer.
No, they got like the
What?
get some Cameron pink horsepower, like do something like there's things to like. It's just so frustrating to me because it's like you can tell the story of
Rudy
this
without,
dude that was a shut-in, that's now in this world, that fell for this girl, that had his first relation with her, and the emotional trauma that he suffers from that without the erectile dysfunction. You could easily tell that story where he's not able to connect
I think
with
that-
this girl that he meets that reminds him of Eris because of this that happened to him, and he's scared to attach to people. Like, you could tell that story without the sexual nature of it.
I think that
and
you
that
totally
having to
could.
be a pervasive issue
Yeah.
in everything.
I think that you totally could, but then I don't think it would be Mushkou Tensei.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be like,
This is a fan service anime.
this is
No, well,
always
no, no,
gonna-
This goes beyond
Yeah.
This
like
is gonna.
yeah.
This is a fan service anime. This is going to be a harem anime.
You know,
this is going to. This is
I
gonna be a
agree
lot.
with all of that, but I also think that this goes way, way further than a fan service anime. This is because I think that's one of the things that we forget about. Like, Jamaal reminds us that Rudy is like a 30 something
Misanthrope.
year old man, and I think that we tend to forget that Rudy is the fan service guy.
Yes,
It's like that. He's like the fan service. He's like the ultimate
I remember that.
fan service guy.
He buys
And
those
so
figurines himself.
We're seeing the ultimate fan service guy go through his life's journey in another world. And that was one of the things that like we liked about the first season, because it legitimately, like, there is no disconnect. Like, Rudy isn't a different person.
Right.
Rudy isn't a different person. The point is that this man got reincarnated into Rudy, and that is Rudy.
With the
Like,
narrate.
there's no separate entity from Rudy. That's just his name in this world. Like, he's that fan service guy. And so this is the fan service life in another world. But I think it's way more, I think there's a level of complexity that we get.
We haven't seen that complexity this season.
No,
It's been like-
Is there?
I agree.
Like, name me another freaking show that talks about ED or a movie.
Well, a lot of shows, like, I don't think there's a really, you need to
Jack,
talk about
you know
AD a
what?
lot.
I'll tell you this.
Well, I don't think it's a subject that a lot of guys want to talk about.
I probably
Yeah.
can't tell you one because I have zero interest in seeing it.
That's what I mean. It's
I don't want to see a dude talking about his erectile dysfunction.
but it's that revealing though. It's
You
that
could just say
rare.
AD.
No, it's rare because nobody cares.
Well, what
Rudy
if it is a
cares.
problem one day?
I care.
Well,
Pause.
Rudy cares. I don't care about what Rudy cares. But you know what? Here.
Well, it's Rudy's show. It's not your show, Jamal.
This is just a personal preference thing for me because I just don't like the fan service for the most part. So
You can tune it
when
out.
you have
Yeah.
these, like, I understand what you're coming from, Jack, in that, hey, they are touching on an issue that isn't spoken on a lot.
Yeah. A man.
I would disagree because every other commercial on TV is Viagra.
Okay, yeah.
So
That's
they
commercial
do-
stuff.
they do speak on it a lot, but not in this format.
Yes.
And I understand that. I don't care. I don't like it. I don't want it. Give me a better. If you can tell the story without that. Even you can even say this dude has erectile dysfunction and he's trying to figure it out. I don't need you to go to the depths of him locking these girls up. And
Well, no,
and
he
groping
didn't do
them.
that.
I don't need you to.
He didn't lock them up because of that. He locked them up because he had committed a crime against his goddess.
That was a hate crime.
I know why he did it. I know why he did it.
It was just an
But he's-
subsequent
he's
fan
still,
service.
He's still a panty stealer.
He hasn't panty stolen in, like,
he
7
still tried to rape his
episodes.
cousin. He still is this.
Oh my god, I just realized that, yeah.
Yeah, he's still this reckless, perverse dude that I
Yeah.
just don't want to. I don't want to see.
Oh, you're not talking like later in the
Anti-hero
series.
person.
I'm not. I know I'm not. I know I'm not going to like it.
So
And I hang on by a thread with this show.
So-
because of these things about him that I despise.
So those are the things that you despise. But then him not being able to express his sexuality because of emotional pain, that doesn't resonate with you at all.
I can get that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
You just
can
don't like
have
the way the
one
show
without
plays it
other.
out.
The extremes.
Yeah.
I'm saying you can have one without the other. And
I mean,
even
you can
if you want,
have it, but I think
even
they
if you
overdo
want
it.
the sexual
Well,
stuff,
yeah, they overdo everything in this show. That's
yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. Even if you want the sexual stuff,
So I see what you're
doesn't
saying.
have to be
With
the
every
main
single
focus
episode.
in every single episode with every interaction that you have.
Well, I think that's too that deals with like we don't get as much of that toward the beginning of the season. It definitely becomes a thing in the second part of the season, but I think that's too because they changed the setting and they change it into this weird, almost like
Hogwarts.
yeah, essentially, it's like it becomes like okay, did we just transition to a slice of life anime that's just like full on like this is all Rudy all the time because there's really no external like their introduction of the Demon King at the end of that episode where you're like okay, this is going to introduce something. This is going to introduce some wrinkles into like this situation, but it's like, okay, now he's part of the school. And I think trying to cram everybody into that school setting, I think is like,
It's really sloppy.
It's a little sloppy. And I think
Yeah.
it's like, I think it's revealing a lot more of the things that Jamaal didn't want to see because this is essentially like,
Getting into Rudy's head,
I
essentially.
don't know, maybe Rudy's party time
That too.
without the party.
Yeah.
It is. You know what? I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because when we watched the OVA, we were like, oh, okay, we're thinking that Cliff is being set up to be a rival to Rudy.
Yeah,
And they
or
kind of took
powerful.
away from that with
Yeah.
the last couple episodes.
They did.
Yeah, because,
So
because
how
he-
do you feel about that change?
to be honest, I totally forgot it was Cliff because he was so enamored with the elf. That threw me off.
What didn't he like? What's her name?
He liked
Aries.
He liked Eris as well, but he was
liked
smaller.
Eris,
Yeah.
and he wanted to impress her. And that's why
But the only magician she ever saw was
No,
Aries.
well, yeah, but when they get to the school and he sees Rudy, he automatically is like, "Oh, Rudy, I've heard a lot about you." And Rudy's like, "From who?" And he's like, "Eris."
And that
And
just
so you think, okay, this is the beginning of the rivalry, and then the next episode is like, "Oh, I like her.
Yeah,
Hook me up."
the
And it's-
slutty elf.
It was a bit of a letdown for me
Yeah,
personally.
I can see. I think that he will still be an annoyance to Rudy. Like every time they meet, there's going to be some kind of like where Rudy's going to be like, "What? Why is this working out in this way?" Because them hooking up together and her deciding that they're going to be like a couple, I think that really threw him for like what?
I mean, because all he's heard from the last like 2 months or 3 months they've been traveling together, they're sort of getting banged every other day. So
Well, that was another thing that I don't want to see her doing it either. It was the same, like, so it's not just a Rudy thing. Why did she have to have that?
Well, I
Like,
don't
why?
know why she's there.
Is it fun? It's not funny.
I don't know why she was there at all.
For me, is
She was there to give Rudy an update about Roxy.
I get that.
That was her sole
No,
purpose.
but I get that. But we knew who she was.
Right.
Like it took me a minute to realize, oh, you're the horny elf. And it's like, all right, how does this play out? Like, what is this gonna like? Yeah.
well, it kind of shows in the themes of intimacy, like losing Eris. There
Well,
you
yeah,
go.
it's part of his like, okay, why do I have to deal with this?
Yeah, it's
Because
annoying.
there were times where she's like, there was one scene where he's like just laying in the bed and he wakes up and she's like there pressed against him and he
Yeah.
checks to see, he's like, no, nothing. And so yeah, there
that's
was that.
got to be so rough.
Right? Yeah.
Makes you think. It makes
Yeah.
you think.
Pink horsepower. Shout out to Cameron. But then,
So I totally agree. Where I feel like the world building and the like, I feel like this whole high school thing, or I'm not gonna call it a high school thing. Let me stop.
Hogwarts.
This magic school thing kind of put like a brakes on the world building. Yeah, it's kind of like okay, like a screeching halt to like yeah.
I get.
And
I mean,
you get into like it's more about the insanity of like who Rudy is and like what he's going through. So I get where it's like,
Yeah.
I want more.
And it's
yeah.
so crazy that we're not even mentioning what he's learning, and on top of it, defeating a demon king, essentially.
Yeah.
He almost, I think they showed it more in the light novels, but he literally had almost one shot at the immortal demon king.
Yeah.
So the same attack or pretty much the same attack that he did against Orsted,
Yeah.
almost killed the body daddy.
Well, that's the thing. It's like she's talking to him, and his whole purpose of going there is like, do you really want Roxy to see you at the same level that you were before?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right. So
Oh, yeah, the man god is just playing with him.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the man god. That was the horny elf.
Oh, okay.
That
yes,
said that.
that's a good call.
Because she's giving her the update, and he's like, oh, where she is? She's like, do you really want to see her? You haven't really improved. How would that look if you're a pupil and it's been this time and you haven't improved? And he's like, all right, I'll go to school.
But he hasn't really improved in school either.
That's what I'm saying.
No, he beat the Demon King.
But that's
But
not,
that was the same attack.
new.
He just had a staff.
Well,
He didn't do anything new.
maybe they didn't show it too much because he's
didn't
there
do
every day.
anything new.
He's
He
learning.
he barely uses his demon eye that they kind of made a big deal out of.
Well, he
Yeah.
used it to beat the Beast Girls.
Yeah.
But that's because he expected
But
him to be
it
so
was
much
like
stronger.
a quick, little flash.
Yeah, he
thing.
did.
It wasn't.
Well, I
like-
think he's realizing that he's a lot stronger than he gives himself credit for. And then the people that he was traveling with were a lot stronger than him.
Sure,
so-
sure. Especially those first three
I
episodes.
don't think he thinks he's a lot stronger than he gives himself credit for. I think he thought like, all right, I'm strong, I got it. And when this girl's like, you need to get better, he's like, what do you mean? Because I think he already felt like he was strong.
Okay, good
I
point.
think he
Oh,
felt
no,
like he needed to
I'm
be
talking
as
about
strong
when he
as
was
needed to
fighting
be.
the Beast Girls.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in general.
He thought, he's like, these, I'm like, I got to get ready for these girls.
Because his
I
only,
mean-
his only
but why-
interactions with the
but
Beast
that's-
people have been
that
Delane and her
again-
brother.
That again bothered me because I'm like, why would you think that these girls would be a problem when you stood toe to toe with their dad? With no problem.
Delane had could mess him up though. And remember, Rudyard just whooped his ass.
Yeah. But I'm like, why were you scared of these girls then?
I don't know that he was scared, but he thought it was going to be more of a fight.
Why?
He's always, remember, he was cocky before Orsted, and then after Orsted, he's been terrified of everyone he's
He
seen.
should be terrified of Orsted, but he's
Well,
like
he
a
even
guy.
tells the Demon King, like, he's like, look, man, I almost died. Can we, he's like, I got to be careful. He's like, yeah. He's like, I can't just throw my life around willy-nilly anymore.
Yeah, because that was a huge wake-up call for him.
Oh, yeah.
And then you saw how Body Daddy respected him. And he's like, you lived after meeting him too. So
Yeah, he's probably like, who is this kid? You know?
And speaking of intimacy, him being the fiance to the Empress, Demon Empress.
that he was
Well,
like,
that's why the elf girl saw that necklace and was like, oh, okay, I better keep my hands off because this belongs to my deity. Yeah, it's like, oh shit. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite characters in the last season too. She was so random, so crazy.
All right. Anything else you guys want to shine in on?
Too early to tell. I have a funny feeling it's going to be a strong finish.
Too early to tell.
because right now it's about a
I said, what would you rate this season? I don't want to hear no too early to tell.
I'd agree with a 6.
6 for now, but it can be better.
And part of me where just the opening and closings just really that hurt.
I think they'll bring it back when they finish with this Renoir arc.
Yeah, I can see that. Good call.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I also feel like it's coming to an end. Yeah. The arc.
I hope, but is this season going to end when that arc ends?
I don't know.
I think they're gonna start the next one, but
Will the next one be with Roxy?
Well, that's my thing. 'cause
I think it's
we're-
gonna end where they're gonna go. Cause I know what's gonna happen next. So I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna start to travel to or set the preparations for season 3 at the end of the season. Because I think this season's gonna be over in I think 2 episodes,
All right,
and
so
then the
my-
next 2 are gonna be him preparing and it's gonna go over the side here. Just what they're doing. Just what's going on next is gonna be super huge. So I think
So, because we're about 8 episodes in.
Yeah,
So,
including.
so you think this is going to be like a 26 season episode?
Last season was
26
24.
episodes?
I think it's gonna be
24?
12, and then they're gonna come back in 5 months and then do it.
So you think they're going to do like the half thing?
Yeah, they did that for the original run too. Yeah,
In that case, I mean,
I watched the first 24 episodes before diving into because I wanted to recap I wanted to see the demon god again.
I
'cause
watched
he
it
was
fairly
badass.
recently. It was close enough.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it goes by fast like crazy.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Especially the second arc, because the second arc is like non-stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Wow.
I agree with the 6. I see it as a 6 now.
Okay.
I want to keep with it, even though I have my
Reservation.
I'm optimistic.
reservations about it.
I'm
but
optimistic.
I think it's going to get. I mean, I had the same reservations in season 1, but the story
Pulled you back
pulled
in.
me back in. It overcame that, so I was able to like enjoy it more. And I'm at that point again where I'm like, I'm almost ready to cut this off. But
Really?
I want the story to.
I see where you're coming from because it's so
hung out, yeah.
it's so like
It's too
it's
difficult for
similar
me
to
get past.
Edwin's review of Oshinoko, essentially.
I never watched Oshinoko.
No, that's the thing. I don't blame it. There's a certain level of tolerance you can have for a certain show.
Yeah, there were certain things where I was just like, no,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not doing it.
I can understand that. And Jamal is very patient with the show, so I give him props.
I only see that on High Dive. Is that where you guys watch
It's only on
this?
High Dive.
Sweet
Or
bootleg.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The
The streets.
I definitely did not watch it on High
knows them
Dive. I did that for
streets.
you, Jack.
It's $5 a month. It's $5.
Yeah, but you say that, but then it's like I got that for $5 a month. I got Crunchyroll.
It adds up.
I got
Netflix, Hulu,
Netflix,
Disney.
Hulu, Disney. Well, Netflix I get mostly for free.
And that's
from,
going up. That's going up.
T-Mobile, so they cool. Hulu I pay for with Disney and ESPN, so that's like $20.
Yeah, and the live stuff.
Max,
is live.
they get my money because I will
Max
support
has been
HBO.
so bad. Like, there's nothing good anymore.
I love HBO.
They have a bad rotation. That's the only thing I can think of.
Their newer content is kind of like,
But they had Boondocks.
their old stuff is. They have a lot of stuff on there. You just got to like find it because they got the Cartoon Network stuff.
Especially if you
They
haven't seen The
have
Wire.
some Crunchyroll stuff on there because they do have. I think they have an agreement with Crunchyroll. All the DC stuff stinks, but they have a lot of DC animated stuff.
They have
on there.
Ghibli, too. Yeah.
They have Ghibli. They have anything Warner Brothers. They got TNT. So they got.
They actually
like,
have all the
first
Batmans. Yeah, never mind.
ones. Yeah, they have stuff on there, but
There's been nothing new that's good. Because
the newer stuff I'm not too worried about. Like that show with The Weeknd, everybody said it's supposed to be good.
That was so bad.
They canceled.
It was bad.
They
It
canceled.
was so
yeah.
bad.
They canceled that through one season.
Kevin told me to watch it. I said I don't want to watch that.
Never trust Kevin.
So Kevin, no.
Kevin does have no rights to an opinion on food or TV.
You heard it first.
Good.
On the 950 clip.
You can quote me on that, Kevin.
Damn, Kevin. So, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Kyle, we'll let you lead this one because you brought in the manga, so you know the story, man. Go ahead. Start us off.
For context, I literally brought the last two, like the volume 9 and 10, because the last part of volume 9 is like showing what just happened in the latest episode. And then volume 10 is like a preview of like what just happened, or it's happening. And it's also going to introduce the Shibuya arc. Shibuya is where shit's about to go down.
All right.
You're going to need some tears. You need some shot glasses. We're going to play a game when this episode's dropped.
I can't wait.
Take a shot every time someone dies.
All right.
Oh,
It's
okay.
gonna be rough, huh?
Oh, we're going to be.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm ready
Okay,
for this.
so as a fan that's read this, how excited are you to see this animated?
I am literally shaking. I don't know if you guys can't hear it at home, but I'm literally like clicking my feet in anticipation because I'm so excited for this anime.
Now, Kyle is a man that bought a cosplay at a convention.
Oh,
Of,
yeah.
Of,
I
That,
love-
Sukuna.
that transformation was awesome.
of Sukuna.
That
Oh, yeah,
just
okay.
watching you like become the character as the day progressed. was
specifically,
like,
specifically Sukuna, which is hard to
Yeah.
pull off.
I love me some.
Mostly
Sukuna.
because we didn't see him most of the day. So
Yeah.
we started off with him in the convention, and it was like his first one. So he was just kind of like,
And he had some of the
feeling it out.
makeup.
yeah,
He had the
face
haircut,
tattoos and
yeah.
the hair.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then like all right, then he's in, like the shoes and the robe, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, like what happened? That was pretty cool.
The first, this is just going down. For some reason.
Yeah, bring it up.
But yeah, the first part of the day ended up like as me progressively turning more into Sukuna, which I love. Sukuna is my favorite character, even though he's kind of crazy. Reminds me a lot of myself, you know.
He ain't that crazy. He's just 20.
Anyway, with Jujutsu Kaisen, Shibuya's gonna have like a lot of crazy shit happen, a lot of character development for our boy Yuji, and a lot of shit going down with our main characters, and a lot of characters in the story that are important. A lot of things are gonna happen to them. It's gonna be an emotional roller coaster.
Now, how did you feel about this prequel arc?
The prequel, it's
Yeah.
like, so it's weird with the Jujutsu Kaisen because the order is the first 5 episodes of this season, and then it's 0, and then it's season 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
now we're
Okay, so Zero's
Yes.
technically
Now we're back.
So
Yeah.
Zero's technically after this hidden inventory.
So
right?
yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, so
I was confused about
Jack
that too.
was confused about the timeline.
Yeah.
So like I didn't want to discuss that before we got on the mic, but yeah, that's exactly what I would say too. I would say I think they're calling it the hidden inventory.
And premature death.
Watch the
Yeah.
hidden inventory first, then watch Jujutsu Kaisen 0 because it leads. The hidden inventory is just kind of showing you
that's what makes
How-
Gojo the strongest.
where
Yeah.
not kind of where Gojo
But also
becomes
their
stronger,
separation.
but
It's where
I
Gojo
think
and Getsu
I think it's
separate.
more of where Geto, his
Becomes
descent,
Yeah.
and where and how he became what he became in 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get this because all we know in 0 is him and Gojo used to be the best of friends, and now he's like this priest that's like want to kill people.
Yeah.
And we don't really
he
get
calls
the
them
full
monkeys.
gist of the story, but this hidden inventory shows you the progression of how they were both first grades. They were top
They were
of
the
top,
strongest.
Yeah.
and how this incident happens.
And they got
You
played.
actually
Where
can
they
see it
got
in the
played.
latest episode, the intro. It says in the first part of the season and the hidden inventory, they show them like mirrored right next to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the new intro, it shows them separate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Gojo has separated himself to the one who is
The different philosophies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
throughout heaven and earth. He alone is the honored one.
Right.
He is him. He is Himothy. Anyway, but yeah, it's
Timothy Franklin.
Well, Gojo. Him.
Gojo
Like,
is
him squared.
yeah. This arc is going to be a lot of Gojo for the most part. The first half.
Well, I think Gojo kind of became like the breakout star of
He
this
did.
show.
He stole
I
the.
think
Even
everybody
versus-
I think everybody kind of as soon as you
he's
see
a-
him in
he's
the
a light
beginning, Jujutsu Kaisen's Kakashi.
He's better than Kakashi.
Huh?
He's better than Kakashi.
I have shoes on where one is Kakashi and the other is Gojo.
No, very nice.
Gojo, no diff.
Jamaal and Kyle are dressed to the Kaisen.
Yeah,
Are those like different colored shoes too?
Yeah.
I was. Oh, I
Yeah,
should
one
have
is
my
gray,
chains
one
on.
is like
This one's
a purple.
and this one's green.
Okay.
Green.
Green.
Wow, grown man can't speak.
I got that from there was a cartoon. Maybe Little Bill where he was like green and great it's just like
And that
you wouldn't get the
that
reference.
stuck with you.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm excited. I can't like think straight. I don't know like how to speak in order. So like, what do you guys want to know?
So like all right, so just let's go through the hidden inventory. What did you guys think of that stuff?
I enjoyed this quite a bit. It felt really different
Yeah.
from like the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I think that some of this stuff was and Kyle, let me know, was this stuff in the manga or was this like his little prequel that he did?
Or a
'Cause
short
there was
story.
like technical. Okay, so it was.
So
right.
volume 9.
Volume 9 pretty much goes through most of the hidden inventory.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because Volume 8 was like the end of season 1 and everything like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The hidden accomplices and everything.
Yes.
So this like this whole like volume is just going over what just happened. It's a prequel setting up everything for Shibuya.
Okay.
It really
okay,
does.
so
Yeah, this is like almost scene per scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive.
so this is interesting because
But this goes kind of. Oh, okay, I see what's happening.
it's like
Yeah.
as we said with like Horimiya with the missing pieces,
Mm-hmm.
in that how it
They really haven't missed out on a lot. I
boom
feel
boom.
Like.
So as you see, I see you got 9 and 10 there. So that's just how they wrote the story.
Yeah, 10 is about
So-
to have is like so for the last episode it was the end of volume 9. It was about like the last 20 pages.
For him in inventory.
For him
Premature
inventory.
death. Yeah.
No, for the newest episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah, when
Premature
they're
Death
back at that
and then
point.
78.
Back
Yeah.
to story A.
So
Okay. So
And,
that's
and the funny thing is that Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was originally supposed to be it was the original idea. Yuta was supposed to be the main character.
Yeah, Yuji was actually supposed to be killed off like originally when Sukuna first.
That as well. That as well.
He didn't. JJ at the time he didn't know how to like write for him apparently.
Oh wow. Okay.
Also, my favorite scene so far, they did adapt it. Oh, where is it? I'm not sure if it's in volume 9 or 10, but it was the it's like that for the Yuji and the girl from his middle school.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was so funny. I
Yeah.
loved
The
that.
new
Oh
episode.
yeah, when she got tall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of perfect because what's Yuji's type?
Tall.
That was funny because they're
Jennifer
just like,
Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, I loved the adaptation. Honestly.
Yeah, that was well done because
Yeah.
because he's like trying to get him to see that movie in what is it, Nobaru?
No.
Nobara,
War-
yeah.
Yeah, it was Nobaru. And she's just like, no, I ain't going to
You always
that.
said one random letter. It's Nobara.
Nobaru, whatever.
Because you said Fritz for like 4 times and like had me like it's Fitz.
Whatever. I'm older.
He's like, I'm not
No,
remembering.
so
any of
Nobara,
this.
she's just like, I'm not going to see that movie. And he's like, all right, cool. And nobody will go see the movie with her. And then she just happens to bump into the girl. And she's like, you're interested in...
Don't worry.
and so she's like, hold on, let me make a call. What is his type? And then the flashback, like, well, he likes tall girls. He likes tall girls. Get over here now. So
He's like,
she just
okay.
gets-
Also, the scene where they both like drop their head when he recognized the girl and Fushiguro and Tujisaki both did the 10 and not that was
Yeah,
just
like-
so fun. I love this episode. It's probably the last happy episode we're gonna get all season.
Well, yeah.
It's,
They need-
it's all down.
I can tell too because the second half is like, okay, here we go.
Shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
But the season doesn't start that great either.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's a big.
It's-
Okay, where we're at? Where
I
are
mean, this
we?
is a
at?
darker anime.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
it's
But it has its moments. Demon Slayer, same thing.
it's gonna get worse.
It has
yeah.
it has its lighter moments, and I think they mix them in pretty well.
It does
because it
it's
doesn't
a
take
really
away.
Good, it's a really good blend of
Yeah.
like these emotional punches mixed with like these happy moments, and
Yeah.
then mixed with like some insane visual action
Yes,
that I think
agree.
that is phenomenal.
Probably the best in all the anime. To be honest,
Some of them, yeah. Some of these
yeah.
fight scenes,
Yeah.
like some of these fight scenes
yeah.
are like
They're a sight
I
to
knew
behold.
like watching when I first started watching it. I told you guys, I'm like, this is gonna be big.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one's gonna be big. Like
Most
after the first, like
of
after
these
watching the
episodes are
first 2 episodes, I'm like, this one's gonna be big.
That's what
Like-
she said.
Pause. This one, I was like, I felt it like right off the bat, and I was like, all right. And Jamal's like, but you don't like shonen, and I'm like, yeah, but this one's different.
This
not
one,
true.
It's
That's
not
not true.
exactly. It's not.
That's not true. I didn't say, but you don't like shonen. I said, but you hate shonen.
This is what he
but
said. He
this
did
one's
say
like
that.
a loose shonen. It's like, okay, we have a school as many.
Well, I think there's enough.
Yeah.
There's enough going on around it.
Yeah.
It's a
Where-
shonen
yeah.
in that these are younger characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
and he's
as-
trying to get stronger and
Yeah. As you've said before, and you guys, because this is another episode you guys did, I think, like number 6 or something.
Yep.
So we did cover season 1. Go
Mm-hmm.
back and listen to season 1. And that you said, what you said in that is, it doesn't really cover, it doesn't really carry a lot of the tropes
No,
that a lot of
It's
shonen
the
has.
180
Yeah.
of My Hero, and it's beautiful. I love it. There's less people in the school.
Yeah.
Things like that.
It is kind of like the opposite of My Hero. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
it's like the teachers are always there for the ones. but-
That's it's just oh my god, and I love My Hero, but man, oh man,
Also, I'm taking a bet. This is where the end of the episode is gonna start. It's gonna say.
okay.
This is my bet for
Okay.
how it's gonna end the next episode.
Okay.
So, as somebody that's read the manga and watched the anime, how faithful do you think the adaptation has been?
It's pretty much been frame for frame, or like they've moved some of it around, but like they've adapted. I feel like most of it, in my opinion.
I agree. Just looking through the volume that he brought with him, I'm like, this is it. This is like every single scene. Like, yeah, like it's kind of like scary how much it matches to like what the manga did. Yeah,
It's a lot of it.
It's a pretty faithful adaptation. I don't think we'll be seeing like, Jujutsu Kaisen Brotherhood
Oh, yeah.
like 20 years from now. No, I think that this will stand like
They have like 2 light novels at the moment, right? Or 3? I believe they have at least 1 light novel.
They have like the wiki books and all.
Okay, that too. Yeah, but that's like, oh, okay.
Well, that's a testament to the writing.
Yeah.
In that, in the synergy between the studio and the writing book, because it's just like if we don't have to change anything, we're just going to literally just adapt this to TV. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Because we don't see that very often.
Well, no, because you don't see that kind of face
Yeah.
in like what the Magnica has done, where it's like we're just gonna adapt this.
Yeah. And we're talking about like depth. We're talking about not only like this timeline, but like different timelines colliding. And that's part of my confusion with this previous first couple episodes is how everything is connected.
It is and it isn't, because
I got
It
it.
does go back and forth a lot.
It does.
well, you get that in the first season.
Yes.
With every single character during the what was it, the school competition?
Yeah.
Every character kind of goes back to like their motivation, but this is bigger because this is the main conflict.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
So it had to be like a big chunk.
Yeah.
They
Well,
couldn't
it's gonna
just
be more than just this conflict.
Yeah.
Well-
It's all.
Yeah.
well, it's all going to stem from there.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
going to stem from this rift that was created between Gojo and Geto.
Yeah.
That fundamental ideological shift, that rift that grew between them. So this had to be bigger.
Yes, yes.
This couldn't just be like a flashback of one episode. This had to be like 6 or 7
Oh, yeah.
episodes, or like an entire volume of the manga,
Yeah.
because it's like, and that's kind of the way this show has worked, where you get the character's introduction, you see the character, and then you get kind of like, this is their backstory.
And why they are the way they are.
That the fundamental nature of their relationship to the world, like like how they were treated, how they're a spare, how they're not the best of like who they are,
Yeah.
and how they overcome that. But because these two are the strongest and most powerful, and Geto even says, it's like, if I were you, I could change things to be the way that I wanted them to be.
Right.
So what you're getting is essentially the most powerful, and then the second most powerful, like essentially like colliding into each other, and the damage and the fallout for everyone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what this arc sets up, even though it's moments where it's like it's almost a buddy cop thing.
Yeah.
And you get some funny moments, especially in Okinawa.
Yeah.
But you get that seriousness too, and you get that moment where and
When
Gojo even says, he's like, should I kill them all?
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, he has that Darth Vader moment where it's like, should I kill all the
I
younglings?
love this transition.
And he tells him, Geto's like, no, don't do it, because he's not there yet.
Yeah.
And
Like-
I loved what Detto said too. I'm sorry to keep cutting you
No,
off.
go ahead, man.
But I love when Detto said, called him like arrogant for it. He's like,
Yeah.
are you the strongest? But how can you say I can't do something that you can do if I was
Right.
in your shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
how it's
That was
like-
good.
And how it dropped on a whim, like for him to be like, yeah, I'm done with these monkeys.
Yeah.
And that put him on his. It put him back on his heels when he said that.
Yeah.
And it kind of, because Gojo kind of, and you kind of see how they kind of flip flop.
Yeah.
How Geto is always like the cool, calm, collected, even keeled guy, and Gojo was just kind of the more arrogant, more steely type of guy, and then
But almost dying humbled
Right.
him. Yeah.
right, and how almost dying not only took his power level up, but it did humble him too. And you see this inner turmoil already from Geto, because he's just like this. It just feels like I'm trying to remember what I
He was
said.
trying to say how how he was getting tired of
Okay, yeah,
constantly
yeah.
like having to like eat these curses
Yeah.
and deal with people, and he was getting to the point where it's like, why do people keep doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this for them?
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, why am I doing this for them if they're just going to like kill this girl and do what they continue to do?
Selfish needs.
Yeah. And it kind of comes into like it's almost like a cop show where the cop has seen every ugly thing in the world, and he's like, why do I keep trying to protect these people?
It's like Mike from Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
Cop show, sort of like The Wire. Go listen to Jack Bag's episode.
Featuring
Here's the
Jim
plug.
Mall.
Hey. So, yeah, you see that switch in him,
yeah, go off.
and it's there, and it's just slowly getting bigger, and he's sitting there, and he's like, y'all don't understand how these curses taste. Like, why am I continually doing this? And he's starting to slowly question, and then when that other special grade comes in,
Yuki.
yeah, whatever. So whenever
You hate
Yuki comes in, and she has that talk with him, and you can tell that's the moment where it all changed for him.
Well, because she tells him, she's like, you're not at either path yet.
She's like, you're not.
Wrong with what
You're
thinking.
trying. You're putting a Band-Aid over the problem. I'm trying to get to the root of it and cut it out. So she's like, well, there's only a couple ways that you can do it.
Yeah, but I think her was more hypothetical.
Yes.
because she didn't have the power
Right.
that Geto and Gojo have.
Right.
and so hers was more of a hypothetical.
But he took that literally.
Well, because she set him down, like she told him, like, look, there's two ways that you can go with this, and she's like, that's where you're at. But for her, it was a hypothetical. But for him, it was like, wait, I might actually be able to do this.
Yeah.
And it was that moment where, like, he has these two people who are essentially building curses in his face over these two little girls. And he's telling them, like, look, no, I took care of it. I took care of it. And they're just spewing their garbage. And he's just like, it was that moment when he's like, I'm done. I'm done with the pettiness. I'm done with the smallness. I'm done with the evil. I'm done with the BS of society and humanity. He's like, you all have to die. And he goes out there and he burns down that whole village because he's like, I'm done.
Wait a second. So when I say that in a zombie apocalypse, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, you're a bad guy. You don't eat cursed spirits.
Well,
It
I'm
tastes
not
like vomit and
saying that.
shit.
I'm not saying that Ghetto's a good guy. He's a bad guy. He's not.
He's conflicted.
No way, man. There's no conflicting there.
He
might be-
chooses the bad.
Look, the only thing I'll say
He
is
is a
that
higher being.
he has committed to his path,
Yeah.
and his path is wrong.
He has. He's
But-
that
But
classic.
is it wrong in his eyes?
He's
No.
that classic
No,
character
I'll
of.
say it's not.
Does the means justify the end?
yeah.
Well, he's essentially like, I'm gonna be a force for evolution.
It's like Thanos.
He literally is.
No,
Thanos.
Magneto.
Yeah.
I would consider Magneto from X-Men.
Yeah, that's better.
That's a more interesting. Yeah.
Because the mutants are the new race. We're going to
Well,
replace
he
the old
feels
race.
that if everybody is a jujutsu sorcerer,
they can control their cursed
and
energy.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't have this whole situation.
Because she plants that in him, because she's like, well, you could just get rid of cursed energy.
Yes.
And he's like, well,
Hypothetically,
yeah, hypothetically, but we can't do that.
In
But
theory.
it's like if everybody's a jujutsu sorcerer,
Or if you tell
they're
all
able
the
to control their
non-sorcerers.
cursed energy. So if everybody's a sorcerer, then we won't
It's
have
not
to
a
worry
problem.
about that anymore.
yeah.
So he's just like
And he turns her hypothetical into like
reality.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the advice.
Yeah, in a terrifying and violent way.
And he does it in a way that, I mean, it's terrifying, but it's genius at the same time, because it's like, I'm gonna start a religion.
yeah.
And that's the easiest way to get people to come in.
Okay, and that was one of the other questions I was scratching my brain a little bit, and Kyle could help me
How
with
do you
this.
scratch your brain?
Yeah, I feel
Like
that kind
really
of,
dig in, huh? What was the terrorist group that was trying to abduct the girl? The vessel.
Star religious.
Star
Yeah,
religion.
that was
Okay,
a
what type of
religious- that was a
religion are
religious
they?
group.
Yeah.
Are they like they're separated?
because they wanted tendons to be like omnipotent. I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Tegan's like technically like
Yeah,
the overseer.
Well, it
Yeah.
was their
See-
like they were kind of like a response to the jujutsu
Yeah,
sorcerer.
Yes.
they don't use
Yeah.
jujutsu
And-
sorcery.
and
They have what they call the heavenly,
Restrictions.
yeah.
the heaven. Yeah.
And at the end, I thought
things.
it was like kind of mixed in with ghetto. I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense.
No, well,
No, this was just a
There-
battle between opposing viewpoints.
yes.
That turned into like the death of that girl.
Yes, yes.
It's like because the dude was like, we have to do something. We have to like our if we don't do something, we're gonna lose our followers.
Yes.
Right.
And so their thing was like, we're gonna stop this from happening. And if we can stop that from happening, our followers will be like, look, it's a miracle. We did this. Because the guy even says, he's like, I will give you the money because I didn't think we were gonna get this far, and here we are. We got as far as we could.
Yeah, yeah.
But what they didn't expect was for Gojo to come back from the dead.
Become the most powerful sorcerer
Yeah.
of them all.
Yeah, they were like, well,
Well,
shit.
okay. He figured it out like that.
Badass.
And
Love
he-
Toji. Also, that's what I think was beautiful about. I think that's like the main thing that happened for Toji, because I think Med would be translated into English as like blessing. Let me shut that. And then, but
Okay. Yeah, some type of vessel type of
but
connotation.
Getzo literally absorbed his took his curse, and
Yes.
Gojo received his blessing. So I think that was like the huge parallel of it.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Good
see what
call.
you're saying.
Yes. Yeah, we see that, and
So
That
that
was-
was the okay. I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense from
He was
Yeah.
blessed.
yeah.
And that's like another sphere of things, and that's what I love about the show. It's maddening, and for the good reasons. You want to learn more. And initially watching it, I had to take a break because I was like, "What am I watching? I know it's good, but
Yeah.
why is it good?" You have to go back to why. So when I reset it,
So why was it good for you, Jack?
it's because it's that damn creative and that damn awesome. And it even though going back to My Hero Academia, even though it's the antithesis of a shonen, it still progresses even more of the genre. It really does. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think this definitely progresses the genre in a positive direction.
yes,
Yeah.
Because it
In
shows you
many
it doesn't have to be all like happy.
No,
you go
but
through.
kind of like stripped down. Like, okay, we only have 3 freaking students in each class because they're damn special.
Well, I mean,
Things like that.
I see what you mean. Now,
You,
my bad.
have that.
Yeah.
You have typically the shonen protagonist is dumb
Yeah,
and like
and Itadori's like a
Right,
parody
and
almost.
Itadori, he's not. He's a little. You could say he's a little aloof, maybe,
But not dumb.
but he's not dumb.
Yeah,
No.
agreed.
He's not dumb.
Yeah.
He's very well adjusted. He's not.
He's
like
powerful
this
as hell, yeah.
Singularly focused. Like I need to get stronger, dude.
Yes.
Like
He's not
his
going to
whole-
stay alive long enough.
Yeah, his whole thing was I was trying to save people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got caught in this situation. I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
So like it definitely does, as you all have said before, it progresses the genre in a positive direction because it takes those tropes and it says we don't need you.
Yeah.
We could have this and do this.
And we'll do a better summer festival. God damn it!
Yeah,
Prove a point.
And honestly, the story could go on without the main character, which not.
It
I don't think
absolutely
that's-
could.
I
Yeah.
don't think a single.
Well,
show
this
should do that.
show technically has 5, 6, 7, 8 main characters. That's that impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
But I think,
Well, I think
once
I
you
think
guys
it's
see this
true.
further,
I think
on
it's
the
the,
manga.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's the strength of all the characters.
There we go.
The
That's
strength of the
More of
characters.
that sphere. Yeah.
And I
they
think-
doesn't depend on
they
one
invested
character.
the time into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each one.
So you have a connection with.
Yeah, they're
these
not
people.
there just to be like.
It's like
In
the same way
service.
with My Hero, like you keep bringing up, but like My Hero, you have fucking 25 characters.
Yeah.
That you
have
like,
to
Same.
keep-
that you
Yeah.
like and attached to, but you're missing the you get muddled with the message, especially with Deku.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You,
Like-
you can't possibly if you got a vast amount of characters like that, you can't possibly give them all
Look,
the
we'll
time.
be
that they
here.
need.
If I started on Deku, we'll be here for like 3 hours, man. Like, no, I can't.
He's the
man.
typical shonen protagonist, which can be
the
annoying.
quintessential. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, even with Jujutsu Kaisen, there's other shows out there that's like negative emotions are what's causing these demons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thorough line through like.
So
Yeah, I think that's just like a Japanese like.
Oh, yeah.
that's like a fundamental
Yeah.
like,
Right.
idea. of,
Maki's
like,
Right.
Maki's character and philosophy is essentially like being strong within society and using your tools.
So yeah, so like that's the thing. It's like it's taking these older things that we've seen before and doing it in a much better in a way that's
Well, like I think that you
different.
said that it's like you said stripped down.
Yeah,
Well, I think it went back to the basics
Mhm.
and then stripped
agree.
everything down and said, all right, we're not going to move forward with like the usual tropes. It's like we will, but then we won't because some of the characters are still like a little tropish,
a little bit.
but their development, I
What do you
their
think is like
character
tropish?
development-
Yeah.
Like, I think the most tropish is like the angry side character Fushiguro. Or like the angry like second MC.
I think he is. I think Toto's a little tropish.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Panda.
I
agree.
find Toto
Yeah.
a little tropish.
Yeah.
Nobara is just her own.
Nobara.
I love
is-
Nobara.
Yeah.
Yeah, her own entity. I love her.
They are, but they're given enough
Right.
they're given enough character development and enough story where they can expand into
Yes.
areas where they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where
So
I
it's
think
like,
they would have been played differently. They would have been serving different purposes in a show that was lesser. They would have played different roles and different services within the show.
Yeah.
But because this is Jujutsu Kaisen and the writing is better and the story is better, they get to actually become these fully fleshed characters that have like their own interactions with each other. I think that's part of what Jack says, because there are fewer characters.
yes.
We can spend time developing these characters.
And the new characters introduced, you're like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I want to learn about these teachers. I want to learn about these clansmen and people like that, and the new villains as well.
Well, yeah, because apparently they want you to care about them, because apparently they're going to kill them all.
Yeah.
And we see
It's
see
like
how
Game of Thrones, man.
we see how it develops too in the latest episode where they're like, "All right, you got these first." They're like, "Who would you recommend as a first grade?"
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, all right, they went out on their missions, they did their thing, so it's like, who would you recommend? And they're like, all right, I recommend this person, I recommend that person. All the characters that we've known and seen, but then it's the layer of like, okay, now they're going to have to go out on these first grade missions.
Yeah.
And it's like Jack said, it's not 30 of them. It's like
But
this
most
just
of the main
small
characters have already
group.
been
Yeah.
on those type of missions.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the second years,
Yeah.
Maki, Panda, and Inumaki.
Inumaki.
Yeah, they all fought a special grade, the
Yeah.
second strongest in the world.
And Amari technically handled his own. He was the first to do so, but then he's got left of the pack.
Yeah, he was already a semi-first grade.
Right.
Panda has already fought Mekamaru, who's also semi-first grade.
Yeah.
So and beat Mekamaru. So
And Maki's a fucking beast.
Oh, he loves Maki.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I can't
I love
choose
me
one.
some
but,
Maki.
yeah, no.
And you know what? And I would like to say, like, everybody knows that as much as we talk about things, I love a strong female protagonist in shows, and they have a lot of strong women.
yeah.
And they're well written.
Yeah, yeah.
They're different. They're not all the same. They have
No.
different motivations. They have different skills. They
Yeah.
have different personalities, but they're all strongly written.
Yeah.
And very fascinating.
all the characters.
The shaman,
Yes.
the shaman one. I keep on forgetting her name. She had one singular episode in Hidden Inventory. The first episode.
Iori,
Right?
I think it was.
She's interesting. Something about her. Like even the new episode, she kind of has like they update the class, what's going on. Even then, like, is she going to join them? I want her to join.
Yeah.
Something like I haven't seen her full potential just yet. So
We haven't seen a lot of the. It's been a while since we've seen any of these
yeah,
characters.
my
So-
too, and she's relatively powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mind, she's a first grade.
Yeah.
Like in the same class with Gojo, essentially. Yeah.
No, she's not.
Gojo's-
Gojo's
Well,
special.
not first class, but she was associated with him before, right? Or something along those lines.
Oh, you mean in the
She
same?
was always still
oh.
a grade below him.
Okay.
Yeah. She was never hit.
Because no one
there.
was ever on par with. Because
Right.
Zetsu and Gojo were still the strongest.
Yeah.
They were still like, but he
Head
became the
and
honored
shoulders.
one.
I'm trying to think of like the interaction first season though. I forget, but it was something about her is like, okay, this
I
is
mean,
an
she
interesting
knew him.
teacher. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, she's not on the same level as them.
No,
No, I don't
yeah.
think that's what Jack was suggesting. He's saying that they came up in the same
Okay.
not the same
yeah.
power level, but
Yeah,
the same.
because they're still technically in school,
Yeah.
even though it's like Ghostbusters division. Just go out and
Because I'm pretty sure that Mei was a lot older because she was the one taking the missions with.
or with the
Iori.
principal. Maybe with the principal then.
Because
Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking the principal now.
the principal's also a grade 1. That's why he's the
Yes.
principal.
Yeah.
And then, but it's always been like Zetsu and Gojo's still been always the strongest. but
Yeah.
It was they elevated a special grade, so you can't even like fathom their strength anymore.
Beyond God. Yeah. This show.
I
This
feel like
show.
that's like the difference between Yuji and Turisaki. That's like I feel like the difference.
Yeah. And then the other connection I found out, I'm still like, I had to double check, and apparently Maki's related to Megami.
Maki?
Yeah. Because through the
Yeah.
Zenin clan, I had to be reintroduced what the clan system is. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they share the same aunts, I believe, or something along those lines.
Because Toji married into the family.
Yes.
And then had Megumi. And then the sister.
Okay.
And then Maki and Mai are
They're
from-
twins.
They're
Right.
twins. They're from the same bloodline.
Same. Yeah.
They're the daughters of the
The head of the clan.
There you go. There you go.
And Maki, because she didn't have any powers,
Yeah.
she's got the
You
cursed
curse that
weapons.
weapon,
yeah.
So the whole thing, like when I saw Toji, I'm like, oh, that's making me sad. Like I knew it as soon as I saw it.
You
it-
texted me. You didn't like the voice. You didn't like that it was the same voice actor as Dio. Remember you texted me that. You didn't know how you felt
He
about
did
it.
have an interesting voice. He did. A little bit. Yeah.
It was the
probably
same
did.
voice actor as Dio
Yeah.
Who's
Wait.
Dio?
from JoJo's.
I've never seen JoJo. That wasn't me.
Never seen
Oh,
JoJo.
and somebody else texted you, sir.
Dang, you confused me with
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
else.
No, you
No.
told me you didn't like the voice actor.
Bro,
You
I've
didn't know
never
how to
seen
feel.
JoJo. I have no idea who Dio is. I don't know who that is. That's like every other anime character. to me.
We are severely behind on
But
JoJo.
look,
JoJo's. I'm also very behind in JoJo's. But
Alright.
I've watched
Or at least
season
the
two.
new
Yeah,
stuff,
I went to
yeah.
season 2.
But yeah, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, okay, this is that. But I still wanted to see how the story was going to unfold. And I was happy to see the way it unfolded. And it made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense, and it connected that story because you know that there's something there to him when you first see him. And then when you can understand why Gojo's so like attached to the kid or over him now. He's like,
Yeah.
I had to take down your dad, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That
Killed me.
Yeah.
Your dad killed me. I had to get him back.
But yeah.
He was kind of wrong path anyway.
But you're here now.
Yep.
He wasn't really wrong path. He just had a different ideology.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
He had a mission, and he completed it. It's just that Gojo came back.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
No.
supposed to.
He killed the
thought,
vessel.
he really thought. He's like, you are dead.
And you know what? Like that. Like you're saying this. Like there's gonna be a bunch of death, but that even while watching that, I got the feeling in that this isn't something that happens. That's going to happen very often in this show. Like this is going to be a show where when people die, they die.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, no comebacks. No
So
comebacks.
like when
It's
just
not like Naruto.
Well, the villains, they had defeats, but they came out back stronger.
yeah, so when they die, they die. So
Yeah.
to have
same as
Gojo
Juju.
come back, it's just like, okay, this dude's on a different level.
Yeah.
You got that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, anybody that dies moving forward, I'm just like, oh, they ain't come back. Like, it's just like, they ain't come back. But Gojo, I just had
Well,
that
Tell me
feeling.
if you have that same take in like 15 episodes.
Okay.
Tell me if you have that same take in like 15 episodes.
Okay. So, we like this season more than season 1?
Well, we do
haven't had the
until
chunky part yet.
until the Shibuya arc
I
or
don't.
incident.
Which isn't going to be this week. It's going to be next week, I think.
No, I know, but in general, like until that's encompassing, even with this.
'Cause I think
I
they said
don't
we got like
know
26 episodes of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shibuya.
I don't think that like I'm ready to say anything about that.
I think
Because-
I think for this situation that's fair.
Yeah.
Because I'm where like
It's all been set up.
Yeah.
it's all been set up, but I'm fine with the
But
setup.
it's been good setup.
it's a pleasant.
well, like I
surprising
said, it's been
setup,
like
yeah.
the biggest setup because it
Yeah.
makes you understand the first season more. You're like, oh, I get it.
Well,
I
zero
get-
especially. Yeah.
Yeah, I get the motivations. I get who these people are. I get what's going on. Let's move forward so we can get the rest of the story. I think this is going to be one of those things like where I just don't like. I'm not going to be able to say like which season is better
Until it's fully out.
Because
yeah,
it all
until it's
flows
already out.
together so well.
Right, because it's all one story. And it, like you said, it flows together so well where it just feels like it doesn't feel like this is a second season. It feels like this is continuation of the
Yes.
story. Where some shows where you're like
You can tell there's like a time skip or something, but it literally there was no time skip so far.
Yeah.
No. Well, not even just with the time skip, but like with My Hero Academia, it's like there's definitely a division between the seasons.
Yeah.
With this, there's no division.
Right.
This is just like pure story. It's a continuation. Or unlike with Jujutsu Kaisen, where so many things are different that you feel like it's two separate seasons. This doesn't feel like it's two separate seasons. This feels like I'm just watching a story or reading a novel, and this is just the next chapter where like I want more.
Yeah, because literally the first like scene of this new season was because if you remember the end of season 1, it was literally them Dojo calling them all saying they have a mission.
Yeah.
And so they later walked up saying you shouldn't be sleeping when you call us and everything like that. So it's literally been going on.
Yeah.
So it was like Dojo was just sleeping and remembering what happened and what caused all this.
Well, yeah, he's in the little comfortable chair, and she's like, "Let me get in the chair." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this is. I think this is going to be in contention for anime of the year.
It's not
going to
be a contest though.
No, I mean we got
Demon Slayer.
we got Demon
Sword,
Slayer. We got
Smith,
another part of Attack on Titan coming out. and
Spy Family.
That's so big. Pause. That a lot of people are going to be saying Attack on Titan.
I don't know. I remember that year I stuck with Jujutsu Kaisen the entire way through. That year, when the first season came out, I stuck with it the entire. I'm like, nope, that's it. I remember they kept asking me. I'm like,
yeah.
I was that way with Blue Lock, but I also have a deeper love for Jujutsu Kaisen. Pause. So I just had to always add a pause to everything because Jamal.
I think
balls infecting everything.
so.
Pause.
It's like we said. That was fun.
Pose.
That's a good one.
It's like we said earlier with when we were talking about Zom 100 and how that's definitely a top 10. This is definitely going to be at least a top 3, at least. And
Yeah.
I get the feeling this will probably end up being a consensus, except for Jack. It'll probably end up being a consensus.
Jack's number one is Tomo-chan.
His number
I think
one
so.
Is, who's number one is
Why are you guys
Otaku
reading
Elf.
my mind? God damn it.
Otaku Elf might
Otaku
actually
Elf,
be his number one.
Otaku Elf, Tomo-chan.
I'm already seeing his list. I was like, we already know.
But is Kaisen going to be better than Spy Family?
Dangers
Is it going
of
to be
My
better than
Heart,
Kaguya-sama movie? Is it going to be better than...
I
The
think movies and shows
Kaguya-sama
have to be in
movie
a
came
different
out
tier.
last year.
I'm counting this. That's when I saw it.
It came out last year, so you can't count it as this year.
come on.
Cannot count it as this year. It came out
Fine.
last year.
See, he's already trying. He's
Yeah, I
already,
know.
He's already
I know.
angling to make his list. He's already angling.
No,
You guys
wait.
want me to list of,
Was it
top endings
last year?
We do.
Well,
we do
it was
that.
released in Japan last year, but I saw it on Valentine's Day this year.
It released here in the movie theaters.
On Valentine's
In America,
Day.
yes.
Okay, then it counts. Then that does count for this year.
Okay.
That does count for this year. Then. That does count.
Yeah, we
and,
do.
And then one show I've been catching up with is Birdie Wing. Birdie Wing's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Because last year it was ranked for best... it was nominated for one of the best shows of the year. And, yeah, it's a very surprising catch-up with that one. And the new season came out this past spring. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty dang good. Top 10.
I saw the anime set and I was kind of scared. I was starting with like the H word type.
Oh.
Streaming and not only Ahsoka, but I think we really covered ground on streaming.
Yeah, we gave them too many
There
good
was a lot
ideas,
of-
man.
We did. Somebody's gonna listen to our podcast and be like,
right.
Well,
Bam.
they're going to be do something counterproductive. Oh, we're just going to rate this streaming service.
yeah, they won't listen to us.
We're not gonna listen.
They'll come up like what you said. They'll come up with not something stupid.
Because sometimes people just watch older stuff. They just do.
They'll be like, well, if you want to
Well,
have it on
people-
4 screens, you need to pay X amount of dollars.
If you didn't want to watch, people will watch new stuff as long as it's good. I've talked to there's a couple older guys in my job that I talked to, and they both said like I can't watch any of this new stuff. I just watch anime.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy in my job. He's like 50, and he's like, I can't watch any of these shows that they got out now. But I started watching anime, and I like that because the storytelling is so much better.
It's insane. It's insane that, and I agree with this sometimes,
I do too.
that the emotional weight of some of these stories is so much more, the sophistication of the writing and the arcs is so much more sophisticated and emotionally, I think, appealing.
Yes, I agree.
Especially like where there's a lot of Netflix shows that I feel are completely soulless.
I agree.
You know, I'm watching this and I'm like, where's the, like, it's just like, you know, shooting like,
It's that
they're just shooting,
rapid fire back and forth.
yeah, where it's
Just-
like, but where's the emotion? Where's the growth? Where's the character arcs? Where's the I don't want to say the angst, but almost like the Shakespearean, like we just spent like I don't know how much time watching Brotherhood and Full Metal Alchemist, and there's so much emotion. There's so much angst.
and
There's
Harry
so
King
much.
was coming soon.
and there's so much there for you to sink your teeth into in those relationships that are developed over the course of either 12 episodes, 24 episodes, 50 episodes,
50.
however many that you want to do.
Yeah.
But there's a level of complexity and like emotional growth that happens in anime that you just don't get in American television anymore. And it's like you ask yourself why? Why aren't they taking this lesson? It's like, the anime has gotten popular, more and more popular everywhere. So why aren't you paying attention? Not only it's like, all right, you want to show it to everybody, you want to carry it on your flat platform, you want to make horrible live action movies based on it. You don't want to learn the storytelling lessons that are contained within these. It's like, like Handyman Saito in Another World, or like, like
Freeing.
Yeah, Freeing, where you're like reflecting on an individual's past and what that means to her and how she's seeing it differently, because essentially the dude left like little postcards for her, spread throughout the entirety of the world to say, hey, remember?
Yeah. Those 10 years you were together.
Remember those 10 years that we were together? This is what it really meant. It's like, I'm sending you little postcards from beyond the grave so that you can learn and experience and grow. What American show does that? I can't think of one. And
maybe something hidden in BBC.
Well, I think that vampire shows
American.
sometimes do that because
that's what I mean.
Yeah, they figure that vampires live such a long lifetime so that you can because she's an elf and she lives such a long time, and because they work on that different kind of like time spectrum and like learning, that's kind of like the same thing. But even then, you don't see that too much either.
I don't know. That's hard. Is it even becoming a little bit rare for anime as well? Well,
I'll give Netflix credit for Castlevania because I haven't watched the
latest season
yet.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the latest season is it's a offshoot.
Yeah, it's a new story essentially.
It's a new story. Yeah. I haven't watched that yet. I've heard it's good.
Yeah, good reviews. Yeah.
Castlevania was legitimately a good show, so I'll give them that.
Witcher, I'm torn on that one.
I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, I'm torn. It's one of those ones where I get it, and I don't need to continue with it. But if I had to say it's good, it's good.
I don't know if they're going to continue with it. I know, what's his face?
He's done. Yeah,
he's done. But they said they were going to continue without him, but I haven't heard anything about it since.
I know that what I had heard is that they were filming it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything beyond that. I think filming wrapped. I enjoyed the first 2 seasons. I liked it a lot. I think it kind of lost its way. But I did like the story, and especially the first season, that was phenomenal.
I like the second season more, surprisingly.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think the second season has a little bit. It's the structure of it. I think is a little bit more solid.
That's me. Yeah. Because the first one you like.
It's all over the place. Well, you have the time jumping.
Yes,
that they don't really make clear.
Jack and time jumping does not work.
No,
it does not work. He does not like.
Well, I don't think that was clear to like a lot of people at first. Then you're like, oh, I get what's going on.
Game of Thrones did a play on that, and House of Dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, but I enjoyed Witcher. I like that a lot. Especially
I'll have to watch it at some point.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
It's fine.
All right, enough praise for Netflix. We're done with you.
Now to the animes.
Now to anime. So where we last left off was we had Kyle here, and we went over the big shows of the summer that we were covering. Usually we would do our top 5s of the season, but we were still recovering from Fan Expo fatigue. So instead of doing top 5, Zom 100, Jujutsu Kaisen, and
Mushkou Tensei.
Mm-hmm. We did the big shows.
And
the biggest ones.
The missing pieces. We covered those as like our big shows. I think we all liked and enjoyed those, so we covered those. What we went and did is each of us picked 2 shows from the season that we enjoyed and we want to highlight. So that is what we're going to get into now.
All right, who wants to start?
Jack.
Me? All right. Well, for this summer season, I usually focus on the slice of life stuff, and it was steady here and there stuff. But the 2 that really caught my eye were one from a reoccurring season and new phenomenon. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. The first one I would mention quickly is Duke of Death Season 2. And Duke of Death Season 2 is impressive. It continues the story quite well. A little recap of the first season. Essentially, the main character, Bochan, he's the Grim Reaper. He's a eternal curse being that can't touch a live human being or else they die. And he has a maid that teases him, and it's one of those back and forth type of shows, but expands the universe in a weird way. And it has a lot of zany adventures. And in the second season, it starts off really hot. It starts off with musical numbers. It starts off with silly dialogue. Cuff and Zane join a circus. They're one of the best supporting characters I've seen in a long while. And yeah, it's a show that people are still getting into. It's CGI animated, so that gives a little hesitation with a lot of anime fans, but go past that, you'll be amazed where it goes.
I like it because it's one of the best example. I think for that CGI, for that type of CGI animation, for that specific one, I've seen it used. Like I think the first time was Night of Zidonia on Netflix. I think this is one of the best examples of that because you can barely tell that it's CGI. It's really, really good. The sexual tension between them is so charming and funny.
They're jokes, like full on jokes. It doesn't make you feel uncomfortable.
No, it's never. They never play it for like. I never felt that when I was watching that show. It was always very charming. It never felt like it was being gratuitous or like this is something between the two of them. This is not something like that. I think is played for any other way. It's like she's there to tease him. Part of it is to make him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In a funny way. But part of it, too, was to bring him out of his funk because it's like essentially he is the Grim Reaper and it's like anything he touches that's alive will die. And so they always play it, to get him out of that.
And also break the curse. And season 2 explores that. And yeah, it's one of those ones I won't spoil too much because I want people to join in. And also check out our episode of Duke of Death as well if you want a little bit more of an explanation of season 1.
I just listened to it and it was very good. It was very informative. We got a comment on YouTube saying Duke of Death CGI is not bad, but the only real good CGI anime is Land of the Illustrious.
Land of the Illustrious. Okay,
I have not watched that.
Me neither. What?
What?
You haven't watched that?
Land of the Illustrious? No.
This is a rare occasion, people, where Edwin says he hasn't watched the anime. If it's a shonen, I mean, he hasn't watched it.
Fair.
But if it's anything other than shonen, we don't hear that.
Yeah.
I am watching quite a bit this season. I didn't realize it, but I'm watching quite a bit. What's your next show, Jack?
And then the one I really want to highlight is probably a strong contender for one of the best comedies in anime currently. The Masterful Cat is depressed again.
Okay.
One of the
I
best.
added that to my watch list because you've talked about it 1,000 times.
Yes. And it's a very simple premise. An office worker essentially works with Totoro. Well, a cat farm, Totoro. And this cat is the perfect household husband. Does the cooking, does the cleaning, and it needs to do it. It has to do it. It's trained itself to do it. And she's essentially a shut-in. Like, she only goes to work and comes back home. And she lived a really messy life. And she initially meets this cat when it was a baby cat and didn't grow into a 9-foot gigantic cat. So after it saved his life, the cat grew doing all these, wanting to learn how to take care of this office worker, essentially. And it's one of those shows that it's literally the same format each episode. They rarely explore the surrounding areas or have zany adventures. I wouldn't say it's true slice life, but it's more of it's half comedy, half slice life. And the dramatic moments they're not gut-wrenching, but they're just there. And
it kind of reminded me of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
That as well.
In a sense.
The dynamics of that for sure.
But I love the fact that this cat was just like, this woman is disgusting and I have to fix her life. Because essentially, when you said shut in, like, no, this was extreme shut in.
Yeah.
Like, her house was full of garbage. Like, she wasn't.
It's shockingly bad.
Oh, yeah. Like,
I've seen houses like that before.
Yeah.
I've had to help clean houses like that.
Porters,
before,
essentially.
really bad.
full of garbage, full of, like, this woman, like, was not taking care of herself at all. And this cat's like, I'm not living in this. And so he's almost like her fairy godmother.
Yeah.
In a sense, is the way that the show plays it. And it's weird when he interacts with, like, people outside. It's like the people in the building kind of know that she has this gigantic cat helping her out, but, like, nobody else at work does. And so she's trying to hide the fact even though she's bringing food to work. They're like, "Oh, you'd make a good wife," and she, no, no,
And that's
no.
that's the only critique I have of the show. They're kind of like she makes a big deal of not showing her cat.
Yeah.
I kind of like there's that reality aspect that people will be scared, but the cat goes to their grocery store anyway. He meets here and there people.
Well, I love that everybody thinks that it's just somebody in cosplay.
Yeah.
They're like, there he is again.
Yeah.
That was a really funny episode. Watching the employees react.
Those are
to,
I was hoping those side characters will have a little bit more, and they do.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Because you haven't finished, and I recommend it. It has a nice. It's one of those to the book. Like you're not going to be overwhelmed with the humor. Even like Kobayashi, you'd be like, "Whoa, this is something else."
Yeah.
This has good beats.
It sounds like a good comfort show.
Yeah. One of my favorite funny moments is when they go to the aquarium just to see a J-pop idol group.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And the cat's a big fan of the band, so he practices the dance moves. Oh, it's that type of show.
Very cute.
But yeah, that's
a lot of unexpected, yeah.
Is this going to be one of the contenders for one of your top comedy slice of life shows of the year?
At least for comedy, top 10. It's sadly too early to tell. Until the end of this season, we'll see.
It ain't too early to tell.
We
have.
Well, Crunchyroll is done. Crunchyroll is done. They've decided on what they're covering for the year.
True.
So they're done. We won't because we cover the entire year. But they're done. They're doing their voting probably right now. They're going to be sending it out to these.
And this one surprisingly had like a strong start, then teetered off with top 10. But people have been buying the manga. It's been a good manga seller. So
yeah, I can see the manga. Yeah.
And if their top 10 stinks, we will let you know.
Oh yeah, we'll be watching that. What, in March?
I'm curious.
March? That could be a panel idea.
For CTU too.
Yeah, our top 10 versus their top 10.
Well, that's a good idea.
And then have people vote on it.
Okay.
That'd be kind of dope, right?
I like that. I like that.
All right, Jamaal, what are your 2 shows for the summer season?
Okay, so my 2 shows are. My first show was Link Click.
Now tell me about the show.
So Link Click is a Chinese anime, and it is about there's a photo shop that 3 people own: Lu Gang, Chang Xiuxi, and Xiao Ling. So Xiao Ling is the girl. She kind of is like the owner of the shop, and Lu Gang and Chang Xiuxi are like the workers. But this shop is a little different in that they are able to go into the photographs for 24 hours. And what they basically sell is, hey, you bring us a photograph, we can go back in there and we could, provide you some closure with whatever it may be. So the first season is just them going into different people's photographs and uncovering these stories of how these things unfolded. So the first episode, they go into a photograph, and this girl, she was, there was this company that was cooking the books or something, and she was a whistleblower for it. And they ended up disgracing her, and she jumped off a building and died. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
That was a, what do they call it?
Trigger warning.
Yeah. Trigger warning for that. And so that happens. And so they have 24 hours that they could be in the photo. Lu Gang is able to see and predict everything that's going to happen in the 24 hours. And Chang Xiuxi is able to embody one of the people in the photographs. And of course, don't do anything to change the future.
Okay.
So this happens, and Lu Gang, he was, for whatever reason, he was in a blind spot or he couldn't see something. And Chang was upset by this whole thing, how it played out. So he wrote a note to the girl's parents, just a little something that changes history. And so for the first few episodes, he did little things like that kind of changed history a little bit. So ends up they find out that the girl doesn't die, and then later on she ends up getting trigger warning, taken advantage of in a car or something. And so he's like, hey, what did you do? And he's like, all I did was, so they're trying to go back and redo all of that. And you get to the part where she's kind of getting taken advantage of in the car, and Chang is fighting the dude off and completely does something completely wrong again. But the same thing ends up happening, and she still ends up jumping off and
the building,
doing herself in. and it turns out that there's somebody else that has the abilities to go into the photographs as well. So the end of the first season, they end up finding out who the guy is. They confront him. They come up with a plan. They catch him. During the police interrogation, dude kills himself, but there's still somebody out there that can do it.
Okay.
So season 2 is them trying to figure out who this person is.
And season 2 was this past
Season 2 was summer.
Gotcha.
So essentially this is like Sherlock Holmes meets Quantum Leap, but inside of photos.
Yes, exactly.
Butterfly effect. I was
Exactly.
thinking.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
It's a really good show. It's well done.
Tonally, like, would you consider more drama or more like science fiction? Like a feel.
Especially early on, is more dramatic
Dramatic, yeah. I
because
sense
you
that.
don't know the story of the other people that's jumping into the pictures. You just know that these people have the ability to go in there and provide closure for these people for these moments. Like there was one episode where this lady started a bakery or something with one of her friends, and they ended up having a falling out, and the friend died, and she felt so much remorse, and so they went in there to patch that up. So you get little stories like that, and you see it unfold. So it kind of feels like, for Jack, it kind of feels like a one of those mushishi type things.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's just kind of like
Personal
these
story.
individual personal stories that are unfolding over this 20 minutes.
Yeah. Initially, when you're describing, I was like, okay, like I'm thinking like is it like Psychopaths or is it like more like a drama? I'm like, okay,
It was more dramatic.
gotcha.
And then over the course of the first season, you get the unfolding of the story. So at first you just think that, hey, man, he messed up by doing these little things to change the future. And the twist is it's still
Someone else.
happening.
Yeah.
Somebody else is still there dictating.
Yeah.
So season 2 is that. They introduce more characters. You have the police chief that kind of has an idea of
what's happening.
what they do.
Yeah.
So he's like the guy that he's like their point guy. So then season 2, again, they're trying to find out who's the brains behind this other person that's jumping into the photos. And you get the story of these two twins that come from this household. And that got a little intense and graphic at times, because the trigger warning, their dad was very abusive to the mom, and he ends up killing the mom. So those scenes can be a little intense to watch.
Yeah, and especially
It
if
can
not
be
prepared.
very intense to watch, because it was kind of a rough watch for me too.
All right.
Even though people think I hate women.
Oh, bah.
That's a joke, people. That's a joke. That's an inside joke.
Inside joke.
That's an inside joke. That's an inside joke.
That's Jamaal commenting on his supposed toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposed.
I
Because,
have supposed toxic masculinity.
because the man is a gentleman.
Yes.
He's a Bo-chan.
So a what?
That's what gentleman means.
A what?
A Bo-chan.
A Bochan?
Bo-chan.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Grace.
That's
Grace.
what they call the Duke of Death.
Oh, okay. Bochan. Okay. Oh, I get that. I didn't know what you were saying at first. I didn't hear that. I'm like,
No.
man,
I
what are
had
you
watched
talking
the
about?
first episode of this show
Oh, you did? Okay.
way back when, and there was something about
It is
the two-
CGI. I'll say that.
there
It
you
is-
go.
It
That
is
didn't-
CGI.
that didn't bother
but
me.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not a bothersome CGI.
It is
No.
like Duke of Death that's used in spurts kind of thing.
No, it's
full on.
it's
Yeah,
full
full
on
on, full on.
CGI.
Gotcha.
There was something about the two main characters and just like the color scheme.
It's
That
a
kind of
little-
like it's definitely, you can tell it's definitely a different. It's
yeah.
not.
You can tell it's not Japanese.
No, yeah, you can
Yeah.
tell right off the bat that it's not Japanese. And there was something about that, like the story really interested me, and like the idea of it really interested me. But for some reason, I couldn't. I don't want to say alien, but different from like other anime, where I'm like, I'm not sure I want to keep going with this, and I didn't. But hearing you talk about it sounds like a really good show.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sold.
something that I think you would enjoy.
Okay.
I think you'd enjoy it if you keep with it.
Was it originally on Crunchyroll? But now on that,
It's a Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll,
It's
straight up.
Yeah,
Crunchyroll.
it's on Crunchyroll.
So again, it's a Chinese anime, so it's a little different. But it was enjoyable. I watched the first season before the second came out. I don't know. I think I was on like my anime list or something, and I saw a rating on it. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll
Check
give
it
it a
out.
shot.
Okay.
And I was glad I did. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
So I do want to send a special shout out to that because it was very interesting, and I think we're going to get a season 3 because season 2 kind of left on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Okay, left it open for another
It
season.
left it open for another season.
All right, sold.
So that was one. My second one was My Happy Marriage. And this was a Netflix show. I just started watching it just because I think I saw a lot of marketing for it at some point in different places. So I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it even though I hate romance. And so
Another inside joke.
yeah. So Edwin is the shonen hater. I'm the romance hater. And Jack hates anything that's not linear. So
Give me structure, baby.
and he hates Comey.
Aw.
And
Comey hater.
Comey hater.
Slander.
And so My Happy Marriage, you have this girl who comes from a fairly prominent family. They are known for their supernatural abilities, and she is the daughter of her dad's first wife. First wife dies. He marries another lady, has a baby with her, and the mom and the daughter just treat her like complete and utter garbage.
Yeah.
Just crappy. There's one boy that just kind of grew to, encourage her, and he grew to like her, and he wanted to help her and to like pull her out of that situation. He offered to marry her, and his family is another family that comes from prominent family. And later on, you find out that there's this supernatural element in all of this. And that's why these families want to marry into each other. So the kid that wants to marry the girl, he goes to the dad and he's like, hey, look, I want to marry your daughter. And he's like, nah, you're not going to get her. You get the younger daughter. Because the younger daughter has shown the ability to have these powers. And the older daughter, she's getting treated like crap because she hasn't awakened the abilities that she's supposed to awaken. So she's kind of seen like a failure. So the dad says, well, if you want to help her out, you marry the younger daughter, but I will make sure to send the other girl off to another family. And so she gets sent off to another family. And it's a family of this very wealthy, very prominent family where the son is like head defense secretary or whatever he is. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's been a number of women that have been brought to him, and apparently he's just like cast them aside, and he's gotten a reputation for that. So she comes along, and he's kind of standoffish and mean to her too, but eventually she wins him over. That's the story. But again, there's that supernatural element where there's the power play at stakes. So she has nightmares, but she doesn't realize that that's part of the abilities that she has to awaken. And come to find out that her mom had these abilities, and the family that she came from, she was like the last one. So this daughter is super special. And so it ends up becoming this big thing between her family and her husband and the family that her mom came from. Because now that she's has these powers that are possibly awakened, her mom's family's like, she needs to come over here so she knows how to channel her powers. The husband has grown to love her, and he's like, no, she needs to stay here. And then now that the dad found out that she's awakened these powers, it's like, oh, dang, I messed up. Now they're plotting against her too. So you have this whole big thing going on. Meanwhile, there's these supernatural forces that's like coming in and attacking. My Happy Marriage.
The one thing I would ask you is like, would a show be better without the supernatural or with the supernatural? Yeah.
See, the supernatural element of it kind of...
Because I did like the first episode, and the first episode had that good switch at the end. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be kind of cute. Then the supernatural stuff, you're like,
This was another show that there were some scenes that were very difficult to watch because they were very brutal to this girl.
Yeah. And
they were brutal to this girl.
Cinderella times a million, yeah.
Not no Cinderella story.
No, well.
This ain't Cinderella. This is extreme verbal and physical abuse.
Yeah.
It was very difficult to watch at times.
Even the original Cinderella, like Grimm story. Yeah.
I'm not bringing Cinderella's nothing on this. Jack, stop bringing Cinderella.
Nah, I'm just saying.
I get where you're going from, but the depths of the abuse here is not. You can't even sugarcoat it.
Well, in general, plot wise, I think it's a little bit of Cinderella meets Beauty and the Beast. but that's just general plot.
Yeah.
That's
We're
just
talking.
like-
We're grinding down.
Well, that's general
to-
That's general overall story structure.
Yeah.
But like, there's a point where the stepsister has her has her tied and locked
Yes.
in a storage place, and she's essentially strangling her
She is.
because she's like, why couldn't I have the life that I wanted?
Yeah.
And the girl's like, that has nothing to do with me, and she stands up to her
For the first time.
for the first time because the man that she's been living with has shown her like, look, it's okay to want things. It's okay to like, because they've beaten this girl so down where she's just apologizing for everything.
Yeah.
And like all the abuse that she's lived through. I had read the manga for this and I watched the first 2 story arcs. I didn't complete the show, but I watched the first 2 story arcs. And it was weird because in the first episode, Netflix doesn't really introduce the magic angle
Yeah, that's
They
the-
don't at all.
at
Yeah,
all.
that's
They
what I
don't
mean.
at
And
all.
I think that you could have 2 separate shows.
You could.
One with magic,
Mm-hmm.
one with where it's just a period romance, and I think either of those shows would have been really, really good.
I agree.
Together, I think they're even better, but I think where it's better is during the climaxes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. And it's like you said, so like when you asked me would it have been better without the supernatural, I hesitated a bit because it just kind of hits you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You didn't really understand. If they introduced that in the beginning, it would have made more sense for
Yeah,
the
I agree.
angling that the families were doing.
Yeah.
And then it would have provided more depth into this girl couldn't awaken her powers. That's why they're treating her so terribly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the end of the first episode too, it had like a comedic kind of thing. Like, oh, he's kind of pretty.
And see, that's the thing about this show, though, where it's like it would have made sense for like if you didn't have the magic element, if you took away the magic element,
It would have been
you
fine.
could still you still would have had like, okay, this guy married, because in the manga, what they don't explain in the show is that the first wife, he was forced. That was an arrangement for him. He was in love with the second wife.
Oh, yeah, see, they didn't touch on that
See,
at
they
all.
didn't touch that on that
They didn't
at
touch
all.
on that at all.
He was in love with the second wife, but his family arranged for him to marry the girl's mother because they wanted to have a daughter with her powers. So that was like, a political or like, to
magical.
Yeah.
Bound.
And so when she died, he was able to go back to his first love and have a child with her. And so if you take away the magic elements, it's still understandable where this woman comes in. It's like, I'm going to mistreat this girl because that's not my kid.
No, wait. I think they did.
I think
I
maybe
think they
later
did
on.
cover it, but later
but
on,
not toward the
yeah,
beginning.
it was later. It was
Yeah.
later on. They
This
did.
is-
I take that back. They did cover it. They did say that, but it was later on, and
Yeah,
I think that was a mistake creatively.
I think so too.
I think that needed to be introduced
because that was a
early
lot of
on.
stuff. Because it confuses you into thinking that you're watching one kind of anime.
Yes.
When it's this other kind of anime. And like when he goes to rescue her and it wasn't even her father, it was this other kid's father.
Yeah.
Who had
It was
said,
the
no,
other
no,
kid's
no,
father.
we need
Yeah.
we need to do this. We need to fix this situation. And like they're using their
Well,
different
that was the deal he made with his son,
Mhm.
because the son just wanted to save her,
Yeah.
and he's like, nah, because this girl has the power, so we're going to take her, but we'll make sure that she gets sent over there. And then when his father found out that she had the power, she awakened the powers, then he wanted to renege on the deal. Like, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
That
And
was
when they
a
were
mess.
talking, he was like,
Yeah.
the husband was like, no. And so when he shows up, like essentially they're battling with the two different
Yes.
powers and the entire compound gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And so that's where the magic really gets into. I mean, you could have done that with like soldiers and fire and battling, but it was fun to watch. It was cool to watch like the guys like, oh no, I'm going to go all out. And it's like, dude, calm down. It doesn't need to be like this. But the guy's like, all right, you're coming at me like this. I'm going to come at you like that. And I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, he didn't mess around.
No.
That dude did not mess around
No.
at all. He burnt that sucker to the ground.
Yeah?
He burnt that sucker to the ground for his wife, and that was they weren't even married at that time.
Well, that's his fiance, but
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. This just in. There is a My Happy Marriage live action film.
Yeah. And I think that came before the anime. I think.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, if it's not made by Netflix, it might be okay.
Yeah.
And this one's been an A-OK seller for a couple years too.
So, and magic elements are good too. Again, like you said, they could have done this without the magic because you could very easily, rich family, poor family, I'm selling this off to you could do it without that.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the the supernatural element does bring something to it.
Yeah.
It's just the matter of timing. Yeah.
It adds more action. It adds more
Intrigue
to it. That's
I think that where they failed was to make it was to keep it hidden in the first episode. It was like, okay.
Yeah, because the first episode is completely
wrong. So you're just like, oh, okay, I'm watching this terrible romance.
Well, old school, like the tropes.
It's a period. It's a period romance.
And it's just like, okay.
Stepdad's a very annoying asshole jerk.
No, he wasn't a stepdad. That
Oh,
was her.
wow.
That was
Dad,
it was a
yeah.
stepmother
Yes,
and
yes.
daughter.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, you have like the evil stepmother with the evil stepdaughter,
Exactly.
and it's like legitimately evil because
they were horrible, dude.
Yeah,
they were horrible. Like you really felt for that girl, and you wanted her to get out that situation. And even when she got to him, I think another creative misstep that they had was you never really got to understand how terrible he was to the other women. I never really got that. He just seemed kind of distant and maybe a little short.
I think that he had a reputation, and I think what it was is that because I think what we weren't seeing is the behavior of the other women.
Yeah.
Her behavior was completely and totally different.
Right.
So I think that's why he's like, oh, she's not acting like these other women, because I'm sure these other women went in there and like they were more like the
sister.
Yeah, they were more like the sister, where they felt entitled and they're like, oh, I'm either gonna like manipulate this man. There was different attitudes I think that went in, and you know how he would have responded to that. And I think he responded in ways that garnered him that reputation for being like, this guy is a monster. But I think that was a reputation and not like a reality.
Yeah, they made it a reputation, but you never really got. They never really sold that reputation. You never really got a glimpse of the reputation.
No.
So it for a minute, it was hard for me to buy into like how terrible this guy is.
Well, because I only read the first issue of the manga, I can't tell you whether or not that played out in the manga. But yeah, they could have done more with that.
I think they could have did a little more with that,
because he doesn't really mistreat. Like, he's harsh, but I don't think unfair to his subordinates.
Right. I mean, the head lady there, she takes up for him. Yeah. She's like, no, he's really a nice guy.
Yeah.
And thankfully she takes a liking to the wife, because she sees how docile she is, and I think she could sense how abused she was.
Yeah.
And she saw that she was just trying.
Yeah.
So she took up for him, and I think her high opinion of her helped him a little bit. But again, when she's speaking up for him and saying he's not that bad of a guy, he's a nice guy, when he has this reputation, I want to see a little bit more of that reputation. I want to see it come out at her a little bit.
Yeah.
And then for the head lady to like sell it a little bit to him.
He's
like
a genuinely nice guy.
Hey, look, I understand how the other ones were. She's a little different. I think they could have sold that a little more. Yeah. Just to add a little bit. But as it played out, it wasn't terrible.
No, I think this is a show people can watch and enjoy. I think like you said, I think there was a little bit more. I think it was just some of the creative choices that they made.
Yeah.
Like,
but
illustrating.
They don't detract. They don't detract. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, they don't distract from like the level of quality and the level of entertainment that the show has and the storytelling. I think that for what it is, it's really good.
We bag on Netflix a lot, but
this was a good show.
I think this was a legitimately good show. If you're a woman that has been through abusive situations at home, this may be a bit of a trigger warning for you.
Yeah.
Because again, the way the mom and the sister are horrible.
It's extreme.
Like when that scene where she's in town to get fitted for the Camino or whatever, and bumps into the sister, and her sister is just running her down on the street. And you just see her breaking down and freezing up. It's kind of like how Akira was in Zom 100 when he saw the boss again.
Yes.
It had that same
It
sort
triggered
of feeling.
all of the anxiety.
It triggered
and,
everything. And you just see, because she was starting to feel good about herself and build up because he complimented her on how she looked and the food that she made. And then she saw her sister, and her sister just ran her down, and it just brought her all the way back down to a point where she was lower than she was when she got there.
Yeah.
I think he may have even offered to marry her or something. And she was just like, no, I'm not good enough for you or whatever. And she just kind of backed away. And that's why she was willing to go off to the mother's family's house, because she just felt completely unworthy after her sister saw her and just dressed her down like that.
Yeah.
If you have emotional trauma, this show can be a bit triggering for you. I want to put that out there. But if you can get beyond that, it has a lot of merit and heartfelt moments to it, because if you are a romance fan and you want to see the knight in shining armor come and save the girl, the damsel in distress,
It
you
delivers.
get that.
Yeah.
It delivers on that big.
Mm-hmm.
It delivers on that big. So I would definitely recommend this show. It's not something I would normally watch because I hate romance, but and it's Netflix. Good show. Good job, and I'll be looking forward to a second season.
My shows for the summer season that I enjoyed, that I thought that needed some attention. The Great Cleric.
I love this show.
Yeah,
I love this show.
It doesn't do a lot of world building, but it is really entertaining. It's a salaryman that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead. You had a comment?
No, I'm just about to say, it's one of those things where I'm putting in a category of isekai as like simple isekai. You'll just enjoy this isekai.
It's definitely a comfort show. Yeah. I watched it like that because it plays more on the humor than anything else. So the salaryman is reborn in another world, and he essentially is a healer. And so what he discovers is that there's rampant capitalism run amok, because essentially there's a rift between adventurers and healers.
That was, you said rampant capitalism. It kind of triggered me a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
well, that.
Especially with the barbershop conversation earlier. So it's essentially that, where the healers essentially have become a racket to the point where essentially they will bankrupt an adventurer, to the point where if you have to save your friend, they can sell you into slavery, because it's that's how much this costs. That's how much they're charging. And they're using spells. They're using super spells instead of just the basic spell. And so this is the world that he kind of falls into. And so as he's developing his magic, he's starting to realize how unfair the system is, and he kind of becomes the bridge between the adventurers and the actual the Healers Guild.
Yeah.
And so he essentially works for both. And there are some absolutely hilarious moments as he goes on his journey. And I like that most isekai won't cover a lot of ground, but he'll have his story arcs where he's training at the Adventurers Guild, or he's training in different ways.
It's a good stretch, a very good stretch.
Well, this is 2 years.
Yeah.
It covers
in
his
the show
journey.
and the episode wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it covers his entire journey from becoming just this low-level healer, essentially, to becoming the Great Cleric.
Yeah.
And as he becomes more and more powerful, and they're just they call him the zombie junkie,
yeah,
and the masochistic junkie, because the trainer is so
hard on him.
It's so hard on him, and it's just really, it's kind of harmless. But it was my favorite isekai to watch, because his personality is so
it's so genuine, because part of the isekai is this building up your stats and stuff. Immediately he picks luck. He picks, I don't want to be an adventurer. I just want to heal people. Yeah. Whatever.
He's if I fight these creatures, I'm gonna die. And he's I don't want to die.
Yeah, and how he dies too, that's pretty unique as well. It's a setup like a traditional isekai, in its simplest form, what you enjoy with isekai. It's becoming a rare form. The only other show I can compare it to in the same tone and flesh is the Faraway Paddling.
Yeah, it's very similar, but this is played more for laughs than it is played for seriousness, because it's really all about his development and his growth into this position and how everybody else reacts to him.
Yeah.
So that one was really good. And then the other one that I watched was The Reign of the Seven Spellblades.
Okay.
This one's really cool. So it's a magic academy. It's kind of different than a lot of other magic shows because they spend a lot of time on the creatures too.
Okay.
And so essentially what you have is these 7 students who essentially become like this group who bond at the introduction ceremony. And it's kind of like Harry Potter.
It is Harry Potter.
Yeah. It's kind of like Harry Potter,
I won't
but
be watching
like
this.
Oh, wow.
With,
It's a better form of Harry Potter.
No. You know what? I still owe Edwin. I did not forget. I still have to watch all the movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
So essentially, it's like an evil version of Harry Potter because the main kid, he acts like he's underpowered. Essentially, the way the plot works is, what if all the professors of Hogwarts had killed Harry's parents instead? Yeah. So this kid is out for revenge, but at the same time, he's got this group that's forming around him, and they all think he's just like this regular guy who just has to be, who
That's
just
my favorite
is
part of the
talented.
show. Yeah.
And their interactions are awesome, and as
It's
they
like a
run
clique.
in,
It's like Horimiya. Yeah.
yeah, it's like this group. It's almost like a slice of life at a magical school where they run into like these overpowered seniors who want to almost like ruffians. They want to like, oh, we're gonna fight you, or we're gonna use you for like our experiments, or like because the school has like underneath the school there's like a dungeon with different levels that just appears at night. They call it like the maze or something, but it's essentially a dungeon, and so they go down there, and that's where most of their adventures happens. But then there's an episode where like he confronts one of the teachers and he kills them. And you find out like, oh shit, like because he has a servant, and so there's like this little side story going on where you're like, what's happening there? And then you realize he's not there to go to school; he's there to destroy the school.
Yes.
You know, he's there to kill like McGonagall. He's there to kill Dumbledore.
Snape.
He's there to kill Snape, and he's gonna take them on one by one, but nobody knows.
A better assassination classroom.
Yeah, like Hermione doesn't know.
That's what I was
Ron
thinking
doesn't
when he
know.
was explaining. I was like, "Is this assassination classroom?"
Even My Hero has that element too.
Yeah, kind of. But it's like, yeah. And so I'm like, at first I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this. But once I realized what was going on, I'm like, I'm going to watch every episode of this.
Yeah, now you're
because it's
invested.
like, I want to see what this kid does.
Well, the first episode is a very like hitter, like you're sold or be sold kind of thing.
Yeah, it's because they play it pretty much, like they don't really tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
You know that something's going on, but you don't know what. And then when you find out what's going on, you're like, I'm sold. I'm watching this. Because like you said, it's pretty standard, except for that plot twist, which really makes it into something else.
For me, it's the characters. I like the characters.
Yeah, the characters are all fun to watch. I mean, they're pretty. I don't want to say they're tropish because it
They
never.
start off tropish. Yeah.
But it never feels that way. And then when the one character goes from being male to female, I thought that was kind of interesting. So they have like, there's enough there that's interesting enough where it'll keep you. But then the plot twist really like takes it to another level, and you're like, I need to watch this.
Not gonna lie, I've been tired of the magical school academy trope lately. Like Ancient Magus Bride did that, Mushkou Tensei did that. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
this one's like okay.
It kind of was a lot in one season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just but this one was a breath of fresh air. I'm like, this
With
is how you do
Mushkou
it.
Tensei, it's like you're watching his life unfold.
Yeah.
And so this is just
Yeah.
his
A step or hurdle. Yeah.
This is a step within his life,
Yeah.
Garbage step.
which most people were not happy with.
Season 2 trash.
Yeah, Jamaal was not happy with it apparently.
Pink horsepower.
But yeah, no, check out the Reign of the Seven Spellblades because you have
So
especially
this was like a surprise.
it surprised me.
Surprise favorite of the season.
Yeah, this surprised me a lot because I wasn't like Jack said, it's like, oh, another one, another
Well,
magic
it's
school,
becoming
like,
more of a trope.
like Mashal or like these other ones. And I'm like, all right,
That's another one. Yeah,
But
you have to watch Mashal because of that.
this
honestly.
twist, which I probably shouldn't have given away, but it's like
No, they sell it. They sell it, to be honest.
it really sells the
Yeah.
show for me because it's like on the face of it is another magic school show, but I think it's one of the better magic school shows. But then the twist really like, all right, I want to watch this. Where a lot of shows won't focus on the classes, they actually focus on the classes. Like they actually have lessons, and the lessons have stakes. And I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
Because it's like, okay, we're gonna have like dueling class, and it's actually going to matter, and we're actually going to duel. And I thought that was really cool. And yeah, that's my those were my 2 shows for the summer season that I wanted to
At
include.
least the special shout outs. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think those were the ones that I don't think people would have like paid attention to, but like I really enjoyed.
Great Cleric's just in that threshold, and more people see it. Similar Far Eye Pale, and like trust us, it's that impressive a show.
Crazy one.
I got a surprise catch up for you, my friend.
Okay, and you said it was crazy, and you couldn't believe what you were watching. Which I'm really curious as to which show.
I think I know. I think.
I'm just hoping that I finished it.
I'm 1 out of 100% sure.
Because there's a lot of anime that I've watched that I haven't finished, but I mean, there's a lot of anime.
So for this round, we're going to be doing the surprise catch-ups.
My surprise catch-up was My Happy Marriage for Jamaal, which was one of his picks for the summer season. So I'd like to hear which show Jamaal was watching that.
So this show that I have for Edwin is my surprise catch up for him. Eminence and Shadow.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's a good show.
I called it.
This show is the mind of a madman.
It is. It absolutely is.
This show is utterly insane. You should have known because I'm using your High Dive account. Password sharing.
Yeah.
So this show is insane, dude.
Isn't it crazy?
I remember you talking about it. So I'm like, all right, season 2's coming out. I'm going to binge season 1. Forgot it was 20 episodes. So I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to finish this?
It's a long show.
Am I going to finish this in time? And so I binged it. This show is insane, dude.
It is. It's absolutely crazy.
This is insane. Like, I don't expect this from you. I expect this from Jack.
Yeah.
Because he likes the insanity and the calamity.
Yeah.
I don't expect this from you, Edwin.
Yeah, I tried watching.
I wasn't.
If you can see the smile of Edwin's face because it's like one of those guilty pleasure shows because it's just utterly insane when you try to think about it, the concept of it. Everything is like being in the mind of a madman.
Yeah. The show kept taking left turns, but it felt right. You know, It kept doing things where I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Kill's like that too. Yeah.
It has that kind of like that frantic energy to it. It's a little bit more balanced than Kill la Kill.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
agree.
not as like wild or crazy as Kill la Kill, but there are moments where you're just like, what is happening? What is this? His level of power is off the charts.
He's ridiculously OP.
Oh yeah.
He's insanely OP. Like to a point where like in a show where people can sense people's power and presence, like, you know, this is like his power levels over 9,000 type levels.
Yeah.
Like it's out of control.
Yeah.
How this dude is just like able to hide.
Well, he sets
his
off a
powers
nuclear
and-
bomb. Essentially,
Yes.
He's like, when he says,
Like Megamine.
and he says atomic.
Yes.
Explosion.
You know, it's like there's a cloud, there's a nuclear cloud over the city, and you're just like, what?
And they're just sitting there looking like, this is the end. This is the end. And it's just like, oh, revive the city. Sunshine and daisies. And you're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this show? So
And there's not only that, but there's his attitude toward things
Yes.
too, which is like, okay, so like either this kid is like Harry Potter or he's Batman Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground, and then he doesn't want to play
But he
it
doesn't
like
want to
that
be
either.
Batman Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He
does.
He wants
and
to be
doesn't.
he wants to be the vigilante at night.
Yeah.
But he wants to be the most like obscure side character in an anime.
Yeah.
So it's just like, is this an anime of his version of an anime? Is this
Yes.
Batman? Is this Licorice
So-
Recoil?
Just yes. Just
Is-
yes.
So yeah.
It's
So-
everything.
This is
This is
essentially
the yes show.
this is his Delulu.
This is his delusion.
He has been reincarnated into this world, and he
By
has,
Truck-kun.
by Truck-kun, and he has essentially decided that he is going to, like you said, he's going to live out his fantasy.
Yeah.
He's going to live out his
Well,
fantasy.
he was already being a vigilante when he was living.
Right,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I thought was really weird.
Very strange.
That was like that when I watched that first episode, I'm like, wait, isn't this supposed to be an isekai? I'm like, this guy's Nightwing.
Right.
Yes,
He is.
He's in real life, he's Nightwing, right? He wants to be Batman, but he's Nightwing. And so then he dies, Truck-kun kills him, and he realizes, I can be Batman now. And I'm going to be Batman, but during the day, I'm going to be Robin. You know, and not Robin.
Not
like,
even Robin. He like wants to be.
I don't think there's
not a comparable.
No.
Like, because
really-
he
He just wants to do
doesn't
his own
even want to
thing.
be Robin.
I could
he
say,
wants to
like,
be like.
Jughead.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wants to be
Aloof,
Jughead.
aloof, yeah.
Aloof, but like.
But he's not the aloof one. He plays like the
He's-
straight guy.
Yeah.
He's
to
me-
the other crazy
methodical,
characters.
methodical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of like brooding, like dismissive straight guy.
Yeah. But he creates. He essentially creates
Yeah.
like almost a secret like
A secret
creates
identity.
this
Creates a
cult.
story
Yeah.
about this cult to bring the women into him that he says I just totally made up, but actually is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like what's that game where you're kind of like that you're drawing and it's like playing out the story where you could be like Hammer and it'll be like Scribble Knots.
Scribble
Knots.
Yes, yes.
This
yes,
is his
yes.
this is his Scribble Knots anime.
Yeah.
Where it's just like all right. So like he has one of his girls that's like the writer. Like I got to a point where I'm like, is this a story that she's telling? Like, is this one of her books?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
when she's like, I remember,
Yes, yes.
he's putting these books out, and he's
Yeah.
walking up, and he's like, "Why does this sound familiar?"
Right.
Yeah, because she's essentially writing out his stories.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was fan fiction for her, or she just realized like, I'm gonna tell his stories, and I'm gonna sell them, and they're gonna be popular. And it's just like this show is. I want to say the word meta, but I'm not sure if that's exactly
Yeah.
what I mean.
Same dilemma as Uncle
I
from
think
Another World.
here's the
Plays-
thing.
Yeah.
I think it's meta inside of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not meta
Outside
for
of the
the
show.
viewer.
Yeah.
It's
No.
meta for him.
Yeah.
It's handled.
Yes.
It's handled better than Uncle, my uncle from another world. Or
Uncle
Oh,
from another-
absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, this show is batshit crazy,
It is.
but it's having fun.
yeah,
Yes.
The entire time.
Uncle from another world.
There's
doesn't.
never a moment where this show, the characters of the world take the show seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does not.
He doesn't take it seriously
At
at
all.
Everybody in this is like, this is serious. This is our life. Everything from his like Licora's recoil agents
Yep.
to the princess. Both of the princesses, like
And the thing is that there are actual stakes for these characters.
Yes.
Like there's actual life and death stakes, like transformative, like abuse, and like was it the princess who gets captured and she's experimented on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when they essentially like take everybody hostage in the school,
Yeah.
like there are life and death consequences to this stuff.
Was that Rose? Yeah, the yellow-haired girl
And
who
it
had to
kinda-
kill her father.
It kind of plays like a superhero show.
It does.
Because he's like, oh, I have to go off and be this coward, but I'm really like, you know, and it has that trope that plays in there, but you're like, wait, no. Yeah, so no, I get, yeah, this is my crazy show. And
It's utter insanity.
yeah, it's
utter insanity.
But it's
'Cause
so
he's-
much fun.
Because he wants to. So, like you said, when they take the school hostage, and he's just like, this is the perfect side character moment, and he just dives in there and
Yes.
gets himself killed.
yes.
And he's just so, it's just such a glorious death to him. And then he just revives himself. He just revives himself.
He's like, well, that was fun.
And he goes
What am I going
back,
to do next?
And he goes back, and his costumes for when he's like hiding himself, he just has a hood on. Same dude just has a hood on. When he's like mundane man, it looks like him just tired.
Yeah.
Like bags on his eyes. He's just tired.
Well, one of my
And
favorite moments.
They cannot tell who this guy is.
No. One of my favorite moments was where he earns all this money from doing these different things, and he spent all of his money recreating the most fanciest room he can to have meetings with these people,
yes.
just so that he's cosplaying. In
Yeah.
his mind, he's like, oh man,
Chinobio.
so like I have this cool room and they're going to come in and they're going to think X, Y, and Z. And this is the part I'm going to play. He's just playing this out.
Yeah.
And it kind of is, it's kind of weird because I think you're right, Jack. I think that like, because at the beginning he's trying to be Nightwing and it doesn't fit with like the later stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's that he's decided that, it's Chinubio in his mind. He's playing this out. He's like, I get to play this out in this world.
Writing his own story.
But everybody else, absolutely everybody else is like, dude, this is some serious shit. And he's just like oblivious to all of it.
And and he can be that way because he's so OP.
Yeah.
That nothing can stop this dude.
No.
Nothing can stop this dude. Like, they're trying to figure out what his special power is, like, in the tournament, and the girl's like, oh, he's cracking his neck. And so she's practicing cracking her neck and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, that's not what he's doing. He's just so fast, you don't even see what he's doing.
Well, one of my favorites was when he's fighting the girl, the tournament at the school.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to enter this. He's like, I'm going to find the perfect way to die for a side character to die.
That's when he was fighting Rose.
Yeah.
Princess Rose, because she started falling in love with him afterwards because he's like, he keeps getting up.
Yep.
He keeps getting up.
And it had nothing to do with her.
Nothing at all.
He was just like, no, I could do it better. I could do it. In his mind, he's like, you know what? That was good, but I could do it better. And he must have died like 20 times. He must have like gotten hurt 20 times. And she's like, how can he keep getting up?
And that's the crazy thing. That's not what a side character would do. That's main character actions.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Well, because it's like he does it because he's being oblivious.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize in his mind, he's just looking for the perfect death for a side character. But because he's doing it repeatedly,
You're a main
everybody's watching him and saying, dude, you're giving off main character vibes. And he's totally oblivious to it.
He doesn't get it.
She kills the fuck out of him. She kills that man. And there's like he just revives himself. And it's kind of like this, like, oh, so you're, like, I'm like, I know she killed this man.
Yeah.
I saw the blood. Why is he like, why are we not addressing this?
It doesn't get addressed at
all. There's moments
all.
There's so many moments that don't get addressed. And you realize that it's not that the writers aren't addressing it. They're just leaving it there for you to be like, what the fuck?
I get it.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
Yeah.
It's intentional. So you can't, like, any thread that any other show you would pick apart and be like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, it's supposed to not make sense.
Yeah.
He's a madman.
Yes. Yes.
He is insane.
Yes.
And it just gets deeper and deeper, and it just gets even more crazy and more crazy. Oh,
but it never stops being entertaining.
It never stops being entertaining.
And that's one of the
because,
best
like
things.
you said, everybody else is taking this serious.
Yeah.
So you actually have this serious story that is unfolding.
Yeah.
That he thinks is fake and he just made up.
Yeah.
But it's like but for like you said, for everybody else, this is real. So you got Princess Rose, who he just gives powers to.
Yeah.
Because
like here.
He's like, here.
Yeah.
Now you go in and tell your story. And she becomes the fulcrum of the story. So she really is, but he just wanted to sit there and play at the piano because he thought that was cool.
And that's the thing. He's like, I'm going to do this because it's cool.
Yeah.
And you're like, in any other show, it would have been like, that would have been the part that's playing for laughs.
Yeah.
And it comes across as funny, but not in a throwaway, he's the comic relief. Mm-hmm. Almost in like, he's a mad genius who doesn't get it. But because the stakes are so real for everyone else, and the writers never stop.
Right.
They never stop making those stakes real for people.
Agreed.
It becomes almost fascinating to see this train wreck. And I don't want to call it a train wreck of a show because they know what they're doing. The writers know exactly what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing, but it's so over the top and insane that you're just like, I can't look away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean with the better context compared to Uncle from Another World, because Uncle from Another World, even though it is meta, even though it's deconstructive, there's still an element where they just don't know how to fit it in. Whereas play meta and deconstructive better is through Eminence and Shadow.
Yeah, this show,
They know exactly what
They know
it's
exactly.
It's not telling the joke.
They know exactly what they want to do. Like when you hear this story, like just explaining the show to somebody, it doesn't make sense.
No.
It doesn't make sense. Like you can't make sense of the show without. You have to watch the show to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sense
Yeah.
of it. That's the only way to really understand what it's about. Because if you just tell somebody the show, it's just kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it sounds insane, but when
Yeah.
you start watching it, you get sucked in and you're like, oh, I want to see what happens.
Yeah.
I want to see what crazy shit this dude's going to come up with, how he's going to react to things, because it's not going to be what you expect. This show is never going to be what you expect. It's always going to be over the top. It keeps you entertained, and you're just like, I'm there for it.
It does. Like even I watched a couple episodes from this season. This is the episode where they're storming the cat, whatever. He gets into the fight with somebody, and she says a line. She's like, "There's no more time. We gotta go." Blah blah blah. And he thought those 3 lines were just so cool. So he just goes throughout the rest of the episode saving people, and he's like, "There's no time."
Yeah, that felt like a Key and Peele
And
sketch.
everybody's just kind of like, okay. But he thought those lines were so cool that he had to steal them and use them.
Oh, my God. See, that's what keeps you entertained. It's like his total, like, his inability to, you don't know if it's a choice or he just doesn't care, or it's just like, hey, this would be cool.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just, they're committed to that. The moment he wakes up and says, hey, wait a minute, you know, that would, I think,
It'll kill the show.
yeah.
It'll kill the show.
Yeah.
It'll kill the show. He needs to
most
be
shows-
oblivious.
Most shows get to that point, but I don't think that this show ever should, because
I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think the delusion is the best part of it. It's what makes it work.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you had what was it when he first found out about the coffee, the chocolate shop that the girl has or whatever, and she's like, here we raised money for the cause, and he saw all the money, and he's like, that's more money than I've ever made. And they're just like, oh, that's for the cause, and he's just like, oh yeah, and he's stealing money from there.
He's like, I'm going to use it to buy a cooler.
Yeah.
Because he would say, like, I'm going to buy a cooler costume with
Yeah.
this. You know, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to fund my delusion with this. Bye. It's like, what are they doing over there? You know, he's like,
For him, it's just like, it's just chocolate. It's just something he said offhand one day.
yeah.
And it's just like, it's just chocolate. And what I can't say is, when I saw that, I'm like, this is going to be a harem.
Oh, okay. You were hesitant.
And I got mad. He has no interest in these women whatsoever.
No.
He has no interest in them
And that
whatsoever.
episode was funny, too.
Yeah.
Because every time you think there's going to be some kind of gratuitous fan service,
There's not.
they cover it.
Yeah.
Or they move it to the side. And so it's like, heh, you were expecting this. It always messes with your
Or
expectations
even
of what
if
you
they,
think is going to
they
happen.
do have some where they had the
Oh, yeah.
cat
But-
one with the big boot. He doesn't care.
No.
It means nothing to him. Just like when he just gave the girl the box of chocolates, he's just like,
Here you go.
here. It's just like, I don't want this. I'm going to give it to the first person I see.
Yeah.
Because that's what a side character would do.
Yeah.
He gives it to the girl, and she's like deathly in love with him because
Smitten.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this because it's Japan. That's a gesture of,
romantic
affection,
gesture.
of romantic
Yeah.
gesture.
Expensive chocolate.
Expensive chocolate. And he's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And no interest in him.
No.
For him, when he says, "Oh yeah, you look good in that," they're just like falling over. For him, it's just like,
Well, no, because that's
Well, I
not
know
what
I-
his side character.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even enter his mind that what's happening.
right,
And that is kind of like a harem trope.
right.
The obliviousness.
But it's not. But it's not in this show.
No, it's not.
It's not.
They play it, but it's like that's not developed.
It's not
like
developed.
he's like, I'm going to go on to my next adventure.
If you are getting in his way of being Batman, he has no use for you.
Yeah.
You are merely here to be
A device of his story.
a device of his story.
Yeah.
To help him become the vigilante that he wants to be.
Yeah, and that's it.
That is it.
Well, the
You are a
vigilante-
pawn in the story.
The vigilante that he is in his mind.
Yeah. Yes.
Because he's essentially the leader of a gigantic cult.
You
know?
He is.
He's the leader of a gigantic cult. He just wants to be Batman. He doesn't want to be Ra's al Ghul. He wants to pretend to be Batman. Pretend to be Batman.
Yes.
Pretend to be Batman while he's pretending to be a side character. Yeah.
This show is utterly insane.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, though.
It's a trip.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
I'm glad you had fun watching it.
We covered this episode before in one of our, I think it was one of our seasonal wrap ups. It was a seasonal wrap up. So we'll link it to this episode. Go back and watch that. It was really fun, and I'm sure we'll have in-depth conversation with this show once it's over or at some point or something. Because this is going to be a standalone episode at some point.
Yeah, it's worth talking. Yeah, it's worth going through like episode by episode, and then plot point by plot point, because it is so crazy and because it's so well done.
Very well done. Very well done. Very chaotic. This is a Jack show.
Yeah, I know.
But this is how I know that you all have been doing this for long enough that his interest is starting to bleed over into you. It's starting to bleed over into you just a little bit.
Yeah, Jack shows usually, like, when I'm watching my Jack shows at home, people will comment and be like, people are always like, what are you watching?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time.
When I was watching Kill la Kill, when I was watching...
Black Lagoon.
No, not Black Lagoon. The one with the kid on skates.
Oh, Paranoid Agent.
Yeah, when I was watching Paranoid Agent, they were like, "What are you watching?" And even when I was watching Full Metal Alchemist, that was the show where they're like, "What are you watching?" Because it does get kind of dark.
Intense.
It does get intense.
It gets very dark.
Yeah, Eminence in Shadow. The thing about Eminence in Shadow is it looks like it's a regular isekai.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a regular Magic
especially
School
a high
Academy
dive
show.
Yeah.
But it plays with your expectations, and I think that's where it really manages to shine.
Very good show. That was my catch up for you, Edwin. I don't think I have another surprise catch up.
Well, I have
Jack.
boomerang thing for Jamaal. I finally saw Tengoku Daimako, Heavenly Delusion.
How'd you like it?
I like it, but I don't love it. Because mainly the story is not finished. Mainly, that's the number one reason. But also, the half and half stuff, half story with the...
That's understandable.
Yeah, because I didn't care too much about the orphanage. I felt like they had moments where it kind of stalled a little bit. Because the two other characters are super fascinating, super dynamic. And
Yeah. You got that play where it's kind of like, I think when we talked about it before, Edwin said he kind of got Promised Neverland vibes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the orphanage stuff does feel like.
It reminded me a little bit more of 86, because 86 has a structure where two characters in separate environments. And I'm like, okay, that's half and half. But I feel like the two characters are going to be in the Promised Neverland area, but that doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, as the story unfolds towards the end, we kind of get that school that they're at is kind of where they're leading towards.
Yeah. It's just a matter of
those
when and
worlds
where.
are going to combine.
Yeah.
And again, for somebody like you that likes to know the linear progression and doesn't like the time jumps and stuff, that wouldn't work for you.
No, well,
so those aspects of that, because they're doing the two stories at play in every episode.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you get Maru and their story, and you're getting the story at the school.
Yeah. Or not the orphanage school. Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, it's kind of like an orphanage at the same
Yeah,
time.
and that's in the context. Like, that's why I don't like about it, because they put too much backstory with the school, in my whole opinion.
It's going to be...
Well, wasn't the school temporarily wasn't the school after their adventure?
Yeah, it's the thing, too. Yeah.
The thing, it hasn't unfolded yet.
Yeah.
We know that because if you look at the character designs of them and some of the people in the school, they look similar.
Yeah.
So it looks like,
And they mentioned that
something here is
Yeah.
happening. And so you see,
and the kids have premonitions, yes.
towards the end, some of the kids from the school escape out into the world, which they weren't supposed to do. It's not going to make sense now because it's still too early in the story.
Yeah,
Eventually, they're going to explain the crossover
Yeah.
between these two places.
But that's the thing. Like, the strong...
But they did call the school heaven.
Yeah.
And he's looking for heaven.
Yeah, the two main characters are on a whim trying to find that sanctuary.
You get the feeling
That they're maybe trying to find their way back.
I get the sense that Maru, he's trying to find heaven.
Yes.
Which is the school.
Kid girl? The girl? Or the boy?
Yeah. So they're trying to find heaven. And the school is heaven. And the school had the kid that gave birth to the thing whatever.
Yeah.
There's going to be something there that's going to tie to some sort of healing device or something.
And
like these stories are going to intersect and make sense at some point, and it'll be a point where this might end up being one of those shows where once it's over,
it's a full review. Yeah.
It
like
might be
overall.
a show that's better watched once it's ending, and you can watch the full story on the
Or
full
read
together.
too. Yeah.
Because it can be a little confusing right now with the jumps between the two. Because I was much more interested in Maru and Kiriku's
and it's a
story.
simple setup. They're set up like The Road, The Last of Us, like two characters trying to figure out this mysterious dystopian.
I read a review somewhere, I don't remember where, and that's exactly what they said. They said it's like The Promised Neverland meets The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, The Promised Neverland kind of fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
To me, that school is important, and there were some important developments that happened there.
It's just a weird, but it doesn't fit in a
You
weird
just
way.
want the other story is so much more intriguing that you just want more of that.
Yeah.
But for the bigger story, they have to do this and develop that. Could they have done it differently? Did it have to be half and half with each episode? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. And what if the manga was like that too, kind of thing too? I've yet to read the manga.
I haven't read it.
That's the thing. And
so the manga could have been like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's the right creative choice.
yeah, it's just a matter of like taste and understanding the story. That's all.
So you could do a number of things. I don't know. I mean, because you see how.
And the strengths outweigh all those flaws, to be honest.
So kind of like. All right, so like The Wire, you had the first season.
Yeah, that's
and you
set
have
up.
these established characters and everything, and then you have season 2, which is a complete departure from season 1, but it provides a lot of backstory. They could have done something like that. They could have, instead of doing half and half with the episodes, they could have
Or one or two standalone.
standalone episodes.
Because the part with premonitions, for example, like that got lost in the shuffle for me because I took my time with the show, and I think it was like episodes 3 and 4, 5 range near the midway. It heavily focused on Maru and Kikuro.
Yeah.
They heavily focused there. I'm like, good. Let's get the backstory there first established. Good. Okay. Then they'll have a random scene at the you wouldn't have no rhyme or reason to have a scene at the school.
It just drops in on you.
It just needs nuggets. It just need another show I'm thinking of. I had a tip of my tongue, but at the post credits, it'd be kind of like a secret ending kind of thing, where you feel like something's going to happen, and it could be like a fish out of water moment.
Yeah.
So it's a show that you're sold on the strengths, you're sold on the art, you're sold on the music, you're sold on the tone, characters. It's just a matter of it's a maddening pull each and every episode. Like the monster stuff, I'm not crazy about because all those other things are really engaging.
The monster stuff.
It's
that's going to be a thing where
Because
some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But it's a dystopian
Yeah,
thing.
and I'm downplaying the violence because violence is sudden. It's there, and it's like, okay, if you're used to a lot of anime shows, it's tastefully done compared to a lot of other extremes. So, I don't know. It's a fascinating show, and I don't think it would be in top 10 for the year, but I can see why you liked it a lot.
I enjoyed it a lot. I don't think it's going to be a top 10 of the year anywhere either.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten...
I can see a cult following.
Critically, I think it's gotten pretty good, high marks. I think that's just going to come down to distribution.
Yeah.
Because it's
Hulu.
It's Hulu.
Yeah.
I don't think people are really looking at Hulu for anime.
Yeah.
Even though it's starting to come up a little bit, I think that's going to put a light on it. Hulu has...
Undead. You've been watching Undead Unlocked.
I've been watching Undead Unlocked, but Hulu has Bleach, and Hulu has what's that show that I hate? Tokyo Revengers.
Yes.
So they have Tokyo Revengers and Bleach, and both of those shows are pretty big. They have pretty big followings. But those are established shows that they just bought the streaming rights.
Similar to Netflix.
Yeah. Tengoku was kind of like.
In between,
first, it was one of their first originals.
Yes,
and it's probably the first one that really hit.
Yeah,
because I know there's the other one, the Summer's.
Summer rendering. And I always got confused where that was placed too, because I thought Disney apparently got it at one point.
No, I think Hulu's had it the whole time.
Yeah,
but I mean, Hulu and Disney are the same.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, and I think their services are merging together soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Might as well.
I think Disney Plus and Hulu are merging together.
Might
from
as
what
well.
I've read.
It's all I could be saying anyway.
So, I mean, with that being said, we have the show there. But I'm glad you watched the show, man. And I hope, I'll be sticking with it.
Me too.
I know it's going to be, it's going to do well, and we're going to definitely check back in, and we'll see if it makes any top 10.
Hey, this is Jack, the 950 Club podcast. I'd like to personally thank each and every listener that has checked in with our show in the year 2023. It's been a crazy year, and our podcast this past year has been very experimental. We've definitely changed our format a little bit. Nonetheless, it's always going to be a challenge with this podcast. I want to personally thank Edwin and Jamaal for being the core members and elevating their game for this podcast. And I would like to personally thank our newer guests, Jesse and Kyle, who did previous episodes before, and our new friend Alberto, who helped us with the fan panel and also a future episode. So, without further ado, I'd like to give personal kudos to each and every member of the 950 Club and future members as well. So who knows what will be out there in that horizon. Thank you again. Goodbye to 2023 and hello to 2024.